Hello again.
Oh, welcome back to 俺たちの漫言はこれからだ, or for short, Orekara, the podcast where we talk about Weekly Shonen Jump, all of the chapters that we are reading, not reaching. We're not reading everything, but almost everything. So you might get a really good summary of everything that's happening this week in the manga world. My name is Maxi Hamburger, and to my left, to your right, is Percival Fine.
It's me. How are you doing?
I'm dying.
Oh, get well soon. That or rest in peace after this recording.
Yeah, once we're done, I'll just expire.
So anyway, this is our episode 32, and we're going to be covering issue 41 for Shonen Jump. What don't we have?
Can I one more time point out how dirt cheap Jump is? Do you see the price? It's 290 yen.
Wow. Wait, there's so many chapters in it, so it must be a pretty big magazine.
Yeah, it's as thick as a telephone book.
How many Choco Pies could you buy for that price?
Just one bag, I guess. I mean, they did have the whole thing about how Gorilla was just able to buy the big package with all of the bags inside.
Yeah, exactly. So, gonna make a parfait, or are you gonna get Shonen Jump? Which one is it gonna be?
You could buy Shonen Jump and probably get like one Pocky stick. Maybe two. Imagine. So this is the issue in which a new series starts in place of
the replacement for Earthchild.
The series is called Ginka Glüna, and it's really weird how the official spelling, like this is not a thing that
with a G?
The translation does. It's the official one with a silent G.
It's right over the Japanese even.
And it's using the U, which is I don't know which language it's supposed to be, where the G can be silent, but the U is Lu. So if you want it to be, I'm not sure. So if you wanted to be like extremely faithful to the Japanese, you would say Luna, but it's probably supposed to be Luna. And I've seen people trying to like make a connection like this is supposed to be Luna, but that's not true because U is not U, and
it would be Lu, not Ryu.
Yes, it would be Luna and not Luna. So there is a big difference, and I just have to assume that this is as fantasy as a name the author could come up with.
Kurapika.
Klapikt.
Yeah, that's sort of spelling style.
Other
so what don't we have this week?
Oh, what we don't have is we're not reading Undead Unluck, Mission Yozakura Family, Mashle, and Highschool Family, and on hiatus is Hunter x Hunter as always. Surprisingly, My Hero Academia and RuriDragon. I would say maybe Horikoshi got really embarrassed about the happenings in the last two chapters, so he had to like go into hiding. But that's not the case. That's never the case. Because all of those chapters that we rated poorly last time and don't seem to have been doing well with the audience have been drawn way in advance. So him taking a break,
completely unrelated.
Yeah. Unless he really just drew them and was like, oh, what am I doing?
Once he saw it published, he was like, I've made a huge mistake.
So
anyway, shall we get into Ginka and Ryuna?
Just let me say one more thing. In the top right, it says One Piece is back in its old. What's the English word? Back in top form again. And it for Ginka to Ryuna, it says magical nomad fantasy. They're connected by magic, bond, and a story. As long as both of them are together, they're the strongest. And the second new serialization in a row that's just brimming and overflowing with magic, the magic glitter.
Mm-hmm. Wait, were they saying that Tokyo Demon Bride is brimming with magic as well? There hasn't really been that much magic.
Hold on,
let
me zoom in on that. Wait a second. What does it say here? It's so small. Zoom enhance.
Those are Maxi's reading sounds.
鬼嫁越えて下町暮らし。Living downtown.
Okay.
The Demon Bride.
It is a reference to
the Demon Bride comes to live downtown. I guess.
All right.
Yeah, let's talk about
just promoting the two new ones. Let's get into it. Here's the English color spread to introduce the series.
Yes. Honestly, kind of lackluster.
Yeah.
Color might not be this artist's strong point.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I've seen people complain about how her snow jacket is way more interesting than what she later looks like. But
yeah,
I thought
I actually had a quibble about that. Even though I think it's a fine costume, it's neat looking, but I did have a single quibble with it.
The time skip or the
time skip.
Okay.
And here's the Japanese version with much more text. What's the thing on the scroll on the corner? That's just completely not there. In the English version.
Let me zoom in on that. That's exactly the same that was already on the cover. Like literally the same text.
Yeah.
What is that? Zoom? I can't read this one. But magical nomad fantasy with innocent two characters.
Not that important.
That important. It's just flavor text to say what to expect.
Yeah. So the color spread sets it up that these are our two main characters. There's this girl who's alone and a snowman, and she's just given her scarf and hat to the snowman, even though it seems very frigid up there, and she probably should keep that for herself.
But it's not even the snowman that she made herself.
No,
she just finds it.
Yeah. And it turns out to kind of be helpful for her because the snowman comes to life and comes to visit her, but he's very rude and he breaks her door.
That's nice, isn't it? Being kind of an asshole?
No, I didn't like it.
What? No,
I didn't like that he's such an asshole because, so that sort of thing where you have a character like that who's kind of an asshole, it's fine to me if that character is someone who is completely disconnected from civilization, but later they establish that this snowman is actually a human magician's soul who got disembodied and put in a snowman. So
that is the plot.
He should know not to do stuff like that.
Now that you mention it,
so I didn't like that.
Mention it.
The introduction, I was just not into it. To be honest, I don't really like the snowman's look. I do like this gag where she hits him and he tries to do the hands above katana. The head. Yeah, clap the katana and just totally fails.
I love it. It's one of my favorite. Even if it's great when you catch the blade, and it's great
it's also funny when it goes through. Yeah.
I think that's one of my favorite Japanese visual gags. But you are correct. I also do dislike the snowman, mostly on account of because I hate snowmen in general. Snowman is a really it's a stupid design, I think. Stereotypical.
Well, you didn't like Frosty as a kid?
No.
Oh, missing out on so much nostalgia. What a great classic film.
It's not. It's stupid. So that's why I'm contrary to you, I kind of like that he's at least kind of an asshole, because if he was supposed to be like, oh, it's such a cute snowman, he's so cute, then that would completely ruin it for me, I think. People always go like, oh, it's Baymax, and it's not Baymax.
No, it's not Baymax.
First of all, Baymax looks even stupider. And Baymax isn't an asshole, and this dude just talks not like a normal. This is like a normal dude.
Well,
he's just looking different.
Because for Baymax, he's got very specific programming, so then it makes sense that he isn't like at the beginning. He doesn't know how to interact with human society at large, because he's programmed to work in a hospital setting.
Yeah.
And he has to learn over time. So he's kind of a fish out of water in most situations, which makes him pretty funny. And this guy, it's like, no, he was a normal dude. He's just an asshole. And yeah, I don't really like him. But for his design, the main thing I didn't like is just his... I think we've criticized before some other characters for having the same face at all times. And this guy is that, where he has a very unexpressive face. It's just always the same derpy smile. And I don't really like his look. Also, he somehow grew horns. He's on the first... Oh no, he has them on the first page. It's more like cat ears on that page.
Maybe in his human form, he used to have cat ears.
Ah, okay. Maybe I will look like this guy after all.
I think it's just it's such an, because it gets explained how this guy turned into a snowman. I think it's such an arbitrary decision to like, why does it have to be a snowman?
Right.
There's basically no reason
as a snowman,
other than author wanted it to be a snowman.
Yeah. So they kind of become friends after he's very rudely entered her home to say thank you by destroying her door. And then they team up and they're talking about magic.
Yes, because he used to be a magician. She aspires to become a magician.
Yeah. So she really wants to be a magician because she's lonely on this mountain.
Do anything.
And, yeah, magicians can do anything. And
magician can do anything and doesn't afraid of anything.
Pretty much, yeah. And she has a training arc
that lasts for 1 page.
Yeah, it's over in 1 page. So at this page, I was like, oh no, this is replacing Earthchild, and they're doing the chapter 1 speed run thing again.
I think it's fine. I would have wanted it to be more. Because,
exactly.
Training arc is...
I like training arcs. They're good.
Is so good.
Yeah. I feel like often in things where there is a very quick training montage, I'm thinking of like lots of kung fu movies, then there'll be more time before the montage of really showing us what the character is like before they do all their training. And I like having that space to sort of get an idea of the characters themselves. Or just because with this, you might as well have had the entire previous to her being a magician just be 1 page of her finding the snowman, and then 5 years later she's learned magic instead of having all these jokes and stuff.
I suppose, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's a weird in-between spot where it doesn't do enough of showing what the characters are like.
I think I mean, that's true. I would have wanted it to be more. But I think it's doing one thing that Demon Bride is doing poorly in a way smaller skip. Which is, you clearly see that these characters have been talking in the meantime when we don't see them, and have been interacting with each other. They've gotten accustomed to each other, and they kind of know what each other's deal is.
Yeah.
And it's not kind of like how they skip in Demon Bride and
10 years and he forgets who she is.
No, but in Demon Bride, it's like they go eating, right? And
oh
then
yeah, you're right. Even within the story,
it shows,
they leave and they come back and they pick up their conversation before as if they didn't talk about anything while they were eating.
So
eating was a loading screen to them.
It needs somebody to be like, kind of weird how we didn't say anything for the past 20 minutes, right? And in this series, it at least doesn't do that. So that's already above Demon Bride, even though it's that's a kind of low bar.
It's just a bit too fast moving.
So
I was afraid that it was going to be like Earthchild, but it's just it's a 5-year time skip, and it's actually a bit more like Akane-banashi, because all that was skipped is training, versus Earthchild, where it's like, oh, their entire relationship prior to having a kid was skipped over.
I think that I'm missing also is there is no explanation how magic works. It's just magic can do anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll come later.
It might come later. I think
I'm sure it will. Perhaps the author hasn't even thought of it. Yeah.
It could potentially work if you just say magic can be anything. It's just bound by how much you can imagine.
Yeah, but they show her studying for the book. So.
Studying her imagination.
Yeah.
But I think there is a story that can work that way. But ideally, I would have wanted an explanation for how magic works.
Right. Anyway, I already showed. Now we get to her time skip design, where she's older. I'm not sure
don't like it.
How old she is. I like it, except for the fact that she's living on a snowy mountain, and previously she had to wear a big jacket everywhere, and now she's got this crop top with the same pattern as her jacket.
Yes.
But I feel like this kind. Yes. When I saw this, I was like, oh, of course they have to make her sexier because this is a magazine for teenage boys. So they're like, oh, we gotta give the main girl a crop top so teenage boys will get excited when they see her on the cover. But I didn't think that this extreme of a costume change fit for this part of the story, because they're still the environment, they're still on the mountain. I feel like it would have been fine if she was wearing this inside and then put on a big jacket still.
She's a magician now. Magician can do anything. Magician can just imagine it being warm.
Yeah, that annoys me, that we have to make up stuff, assume that she's just using magic to keep herself warm at all times now, when it seems
just
kind
so
of
whimsical that you can allow. Yeah, and this is a story where you can just say a wizard did it and it makes sense.
Literally, a wizard did it, but I don't like it. It doesn't say that in the story. I generally don't like it when there's something that just doesn't make sense and we have to fill it in like that.
Here's one more thing that is in the same vein. She suddenly can talk to the animals.
Yeah,
she wasn't able to do that before, and now she can. So
that could have been the sort of thing that would take up an entire arc.
Yes.
I almost feel like this story might as well have started with post-time skip design, them escaping the mountain, and then cover lots of stuff in flashback afterward.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because she talks to animals now, and there's a deer who's like, "Oh, come with me. I'm going to show you this super magical place that you've been training here for 5 years on this mountain, but you've never been to this particular place on the mountain."
It's a hole that you have to crawl into, and normally you wouldn't be inclined to
she'd have explored everywhere. I would have thought someone like her. I would think.
Maybe that was before she gained the power to be warm all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then once she gained the power, she was like, I don't. Let's just not bother with that. It's kind of like when you see a side quest after you've already reached level 90, you're like, that's not important.
But do you want to make predictions from this page on whether it'll be revealed that this is a post-apocalypse or whether time is convoluted and they got that airplane from the future?
Name is definitely convoluted.
Mhm.
That's what this is supposed to signify, because you see fossils and an airplane and a weird tower fantasy mirage
Ancient
kind of.
architecture sort of stuff.
I think this is just like all kind of ages mashed together because they fought so hard that it created a rift in the space-time.
Yeah, that
And
makes sense.
nothing
More than
else other than maybe in this fantasy world they will invent airplanes, and maybe in this
at some
fantasy
point.
world dinosaurs existed.
Yeah,
Also, she's walking on
it's like
what's it called?
corals.
Coral. So that means that's extra age old
Mm-hmm.
changed.
Ancient ocean beds were here.
Yes. I love that, by the way. That's really cool.
Yeah, the coral. It's a neat visual.
Like in general, if you walk anywhere and you realize, oh shit, this used to be the ocean floor. That's so cool. Like I think there was the Wizard of Oz anime from the 80s, maybe. I think it was
haven't
even
seen
part
it.
of the World Masterpiece
Oh,
Theater.
okay, yeah.
So you can kind of imagine what it might look like. And there's this one bit where they have this deadly desert. I forgot what it's called in the original, but in this version they walk through it, and it has like whale.
It's all coral.
No, it has whale skeletons
Oh, yeah.
and
To
shipwrecks
imply that
all
the
over.
deadly desert used to be an ocean.
Yes, and that's such a
that's pretty
cool
cool.
imagery. It's kind of like when you find the thing in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, the ancient Leviathan skeletons in the desert.
Yes, and it's just whales. But I love that. That's one of my favorite imageries of all time.
Right,
Like,
mismatching
yes,
ancient stuff to the
bottomless
current
pit
environment.
number 1. Whale skeleton in places where it doesn't
desert,
belong.
Number 2.
In the desert.
Yeah. So
and then she goes into goblin mode.
For running.
Yeah, man, she's running like a mad woman. She's so pumped. She grabs him and then she slam dunks him.
Is that where she decides to leave the mountain?
Yes.
Yeah. Is this after he'd revealed his backstory to her?
The deer reveals the backstory, and then she's like, "Oh, so that means that Ginka always wanted to leave the mountain." The thing is, so the story is that he used to be a wizard. He fought with a different wizard. The wizard
beat him, another wizard, or like because all we see is a creepy hand. So
it's a different wizard.
Okay, I was like, it could be some, old god type thing. Yeah.
Well,
demon.
At this point, when in this story where magic can anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It basically means a wizard is kind of like a god. So the boundary between god and wizard here is probably like negligible. But let's just say Ginka fought a different wizard who was stronger, and as a final bid to escape, he just disconnected from his body and put his soul somewhere else. And the other wizard is like,
a snowman.
That's hilarious. I'll just take your body. Yeah. See ya. And
which makes this a little bit like Full Metal Alchemist, where the Deuteragonist has lost his body and kind of wants
that's such a wow, this high class word. Deuteronomist.
Yeah, it's the main character secondary to the protagonist.
So the Deuteragonist. Ginka always argues that he can't leave the mountain and that he's perfectly fine being a snowman because this is where he wants to be. But this backstory being revealed to Luna is telling her that, he actually wants to leave the mountain. And that's what causes her to like sprint and slam dunk him out of the mountain. He's like, do you have a plan? And she's like, yeah, I have a plan. And then he just melts. And he's like, wait. What's the plan?
You'd think that she would have done the plan first.
Yes,
Slam dunking him off the mountain.
I recently watched Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Frozen.
No, Thor Ragnarok, and there's a
Uh-huh.
scene where Banner jumps
Mhm.
out of a spaceship. It's like, watch me, I'm gonna do a thing. You'll love
Oh
it.
yeah, I love
And
that part.
you think like he's gonna jump down. He arrives as Hulk, but it's kind of like he's ragdolling, like.
Yeah, he falls down and breaks his legs immediately.
And he just lies there. It's like,
yeah,
no.
and the enemy is like pushing him around, like, "Are you alive?" And then he turns into Hulk later. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is kind of like the same thing where he's like a little.
It's the same kind of
on the floor.
It's the same kind of gag, except in this, it makes Ryuna look really dumb. As you said, Goblin mode.
Both of them are kind of assholes, so I like that. I like it when I like it when it's extremely wholesome. But we've already had so many wholesome series right now. Like Roboco is
Roboco, Witch Watch,
and we need more assholes. Like Chainsaw Man left more goblins.
Yeah,
Chainsaw Man left
like
an opening.
Champion of Goblin mode these days. So, but he's on Jump Plus now. And the main magazine needs more goblinized characters, and here we have two of them. So they get off the mountain, and Ryuna basically does the Olaf thing from Frozen.
Yes.
To just make him always be cold, which makes you wonder. It seemed like Ginka knows the ways of magic already and could still do magic as a snowman. Is that true?
I suppose, yeah.
Maybe. So, why didn't he just do that to himself?
Possible. I expect that they're going to explain that Ginka is kind of weak as a snowman, and he was able to use magic. Like he was able to float a square out of
the water
out of the lake
when they were fishing. He'll be better once they get his body back at the end of the story to defeat the main boss.
Yes, and probably Luna is now stronger than or better at magic than him because she's able to like blow him up into Godzilla size.
Yeah, because immediately after this, the
kind of
many-titted two-headed goat bursts out of the mountain to fight them. And I guess Ginka seems to think that this was put there by his enemy from before.
Yes.
So they're like, all right, let's kill this thing. And Ryuna uses a spell which looks kind of weird. She pulls...
Dynamaxes him.
Yeah. But she's inflating him. She pulls like a little tube out of his body of snow and then blows into it and it inflates him this big.
Listen, magic can do anything.
That would be the answer to anything in this series.
And the magic in this series works kind of like Nika in One Piece. Yeah. Can do anything.
Can just cartoonize things.
You have to put your mind to it. If you can imagine it, you can make it real. But if you're unable to, like, how do I make Ginka big? If you can't imagine a way to do that, then you can't do it.
It won't work. You can't just have him become big. You have to do something creative.
Yes.
Yeah, so he gets big and he one-shots the many-titted goat monster.
Yeah, I didn't take more screenshots because the rest is kind of uneventful and kind of lame, but their adventure is only just beginning.
Literally this time, though, not ironically. This is literally the beginning of their adventure.
I kind of like that all of the animals on the mountain gather around. Like, this is so whimsical.
They were their friends. They became their friends off screen.
But even animals that would eat each other are gathering around and holding hands and like, oh no, save our forest. And you know what? This is stupid, but I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like it when they get together and sing in the not the Lion King. What's the anime one? Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, Kimba the White Lion.
Right. So, what's your overall impression of this?
I gave it. I thought it was good. I gave it 74 points because this makes me more confident than Demon Bride. This seems like they just wanted to rush to the point where they leave the mountain, go on adventures, and get to explore exciting new places because it's supposed to be a fantasy nomad
Right. Nomad adventure going all around the world to learn about different things. I am reserving my excitement. I'm not going to say I'm excited for it because just recent stuff we've read that didn't go
Yes.
well. I will say I really don't like Ginka's design. That he looks like you said people's been saying Baymax. I could kind of get that because of the eyes and mouth, but
It's because he's a white blobbish humanoid figure.
yeah,
That's all.
as a snowman, I was thinking more of he's like a fat Jack Frost from Shin Megami Tensei. That was
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
thought of more. Yeah, but either way, I feel like I compared him to Full Metal Alchemist in terms of he's a guy trying to get his body back.
But
But
try to
liked
draw Alphonse in his armor every week.
I really
Can't do
liked
it.
Al's design. It's fine. Just do the it's like how Puck became Chestnut. There's lots of panels where Al is whatever you call that version.
That's true.
Yeah, it's fine. You can have a more simplified look, but also have a cooler look.
And
with a snowman, I'm thinking there's not really going to be a cooler look.
There's
other
other
than literally
people who,
cool because snow.
There's people who got away with like exploiting everything in the CSP store. Could just like make a 3D model of Al nowadays, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
you could get away with it if PPPPPP gets away with like bullshitting everything. You can do it.
Yeah,
you can do
CSP is
anything.
pretty advanced now.
Magic.
I'm sure you could just slightly tweak a CG model of Al and get it to look perfectly like an original drawing.
What if you? Oh, we need somebody who has access to the real, like the good Dali AI, and we have to tell him like, Alphonse, Full Metal Alchemist, as a not snowman, something else, and then let's see what it comes up with, and then we use that one as
mash up ideas with the AI to come up with an idea for your next series. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, going on. Next manga. Get hype for One Piece. 1059. The matter involving Captain Koby. So just in the title, I feel like last time we saw Koby, he was not a captain yet, was he?
Captain is relatively low on the marine hierarchy, I think. Captain is what smokers started out when we saw him. I think Captain is like basically the no, I'm pretty sure he was Captain already.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, because
even that we saw him, he might have upgraded.
Well, even though you're thinking in terms of how important they are for the overall story, because usually we're seeing like admirals and vice admirals running around making the big decisions and starting the bigger fights. But on the other hand, like Koby and Helmeppo are younger than Luffy and friends, so getting to be a captain at that age is pretty impressive.
Listen, Koby is really good.
Yeah.
He can hack in, dude. He doesn't afraid of anything.
And we barely ever see him.
Well, now we do.
Yeah.
So let me give a short summary of this chapter.
Summarize this.
This is the chapter in which Blackbeard and the Marines attack Amazon Lily. That's my summary. Yep. I have several things to say. So first of all, we finally
everything is in flashbacks.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
In this chapter.
We finally get confirmation of something that we've been speculating on.
Just as we thought, Yamato does actually join Luffy's crew, but as the representative in Wano. So she's not on the ship, but she can call herself part of the Straw Hats.
He literally suggests it just the way we said it. It's the one thing that was missing, and it could have been delivered.
It could have been in any of those previous chapters. They made us wait.
We didn't need a flashback for this.
Yeah.
Did you notice that Oda is often doing like flashback within a flashback? Flashback
Where's the flashback in a flashback?
Flashback is black, and flashback within a black flashback is grayscale. Like what's here? The outline.
Okay.
The outline.
Right. I see what you
is
mean.
gray. It's not like flashback to the distant past. It's a flashback within a flashback.
Okay. Interesting. We also got a panel of Shanks hanging out with Marco. And he's like, "Do you want to join our crew?" And Marco's like, "Nope, I'm out. See you later. Kikiriki." And he's gone. And I have no clue what he's going to do now.
Well, he makes a joke about, "I don't want to babysit you," talking to Shanks, and Shanks like, "What? I don't need babysitting. Fuck you." And tell him that I don't need babysitting. Ben is like, "Yeah, he needs babysitting."
I did like that little interaction with his crew.
All of these
he needs
guys
babysitting.
grew up with Shanks starting out as like a small baby child, so of course they kind of still treat him that way.
Yeah. I mean, I would think you could say Luffy's crew kind of treats him like that too.
That's because Luffy has brain damage.
Yeah. Anyway,
Everybody
the main
met
part of the
Luffy
story.
when he was already 17. So that's not baby. Like, okay, in real life that's baby child. That's everything below 20 is baby.
But in anime, no.
Yes. So we get to see what happened in Amazon Lily.
Yeah, they show before they show us any of the action, they show us the island itself is like totally messed up.
Yeah, as a reminder.
Day. Yeah. It's like, look what happened. Now time to see how it got to be like that. And it's because there was a big fight against the Marines and against Blackbeards. So it was a big three-way battle.
The Marines suddenly have a new type of pacifistas.
Yes.
And there's something that
pacifista.
Yes, and there's something that I didn't notice immediately, but people pointed out. Rather, I read it carelessly and then was like, oh shit. Now I know what everybody's talking about. But before we get to that, I just wanted to point out, I bet a lot of people were reading this page, or rather the right panel, were like, why is she saying chapter? That's Sweet Pea. That's one of the Amazons, and her speaking quirk is that she's always talking in a way like she adds Ken at the end of all of her statements, all of her descriptive statements. So it kind of, you would normally translate it as something like that time when ... happened. So for instance, the slime anime is phrased in that exact way. That time I got
the time when I feel like lots of isekai have
no, not like that. But that time I got reincarnated as a slime. That's making the statement like, oh yeah, that's the story of when ... happened. And she's kind of using the same speaking quirk, just like for your information, in case you got confused why she says it, because it kind of sounds
it's a weird translation though. I would say
yes,
it doesn't come across quite the same way.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the main thing that I wanted to point out with the pacifistas is that there's multiples.
Yes.
And
I was really pleased with this change in the pacifistas.
Well, of course.
Yeah, when they first said, "Oh, let's get out the new pacifistas," I was like, "Ooh, I wonder what they're going to be like." And it shows them, and at first, my thought was that they are based on the moon people, like King.
Yes, Lunarians.
Because they kind of talk about how they've got the wings and they
wings, white hair, dark skin, and the
coloring
on the
to
back.
King. Yeah. And then later they reveal that why the Amazons are like surprised looking at this one, saying she looks like, and it's because she looks like Boa Hancock.
As a baby child.
Yeah, as a kid. And there's this other one who's fighting with a sword, and I'm looking at him like, oh, is he supposed to be looking like young Hawkeyes?
Yes, that's
In
the
that case, so
conclusion.
then
I read the
the
comments and I
Pacifista
was
used
like,
to all be Kuma, but now they're younger versions of the other warlords of the sea.
yes, because it kind of makes sense. The pacifista system is literally introduced as a replacement for the Seven Warlord system. And since they already have one of the warlords turned into a pacifista, it kind of makes sense for them to like make more cyborg robot clones, whatever this is, based on other warlords. And you can clearly see that like he has the same hairstyle, except it's white. He has the same eyes. The pupils have these rings that only Hawkeye has. And most importantly even, look at the sword he's carrying on the right. Some people mistook it for a naginata, but you can clearly see that the what's it called? The handguard?
Yeah, crossguard.
The crossguard is this huge cross.
Like the one that he carries on his back.
Yeah. So and when he attacks Blackbeard, he cleaves the mountain in half. So this seems to be a really direct, like, hey, check out, this is Hawkeye.
So at first when I was looking at it, I had no clue like whether I didn't realize that this one was supposed to be Hancock. And when I saw this one, I was like, oh, is this just a copy of King? They've copied the Moon People? That was my first thought until later on. Then one of the sisters just straight up says, oh, that pacifista looked identical to our sister as a kid.
Right.
Like, oh, they're copying it. And I was thinking, this is like in some video games where late in the game, before the final battle, you have to fight a bunch of recolored versions of
the previous
bosses. Yeah, this is what that is. I like it. It's great.
Did I have more
pacifista talk?
No, just this. But like I got confused by seeing the first one where they say like this is a child, then they show the other one that looks like King. On first glance, I was like, oh, okay, so they just cloned King because they used to have King in their laboratory, but then they spell out that this one
got his they've got his power some way to have the wings, but then for the rest of it, they're based on the warlords.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had to
they've done a lot of mixing and matching. It's like in Jurassic Park where you fill in the missing dinosaur DNA with frog DNA. They filled in the missing warlord of the sea DNA with King DNA.
Right. So Blackbeard and Hancock have this really cool standoff.
Yes.
Where
Blackbeard,
has the power
she turns everyone to stone. The only people who get away are Koby and Blackbeard. And Koby immediately calls off. Well, yeah, of course, he's not going to petrify her own side. Koby calls off the pacifista because he's like, oh, if they keep fighting, they're going to rampage and destroy all the statues.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want it to be like in Dr. Stone, where it's really hard to find all the little pieces of people to fit them back together to revive them. So he's like, okay, stop the fighting. And they just have this little standoff because Blackbeard can overpower Hancock with his shadow powers.
He can nullify her
so that she can't petrify him.
His power works that kind of like that he's a sea prism stone. When he touches you, you also kind of lose all of your power and your energy as well.
Yes.
But only if you have a devil fruit, I guess.
Well, he also steals the powers, right?
Yeah, but we don't know how that works.
Not yet.
It's still a
funny.
mystery.
We have both him and All for One stealing people's powers.
But
And
so
somehow
far,
Blackbeard is like much goofier looking than All for One, but I like him as the main villain much
scary,
better. Yeah, he looks scary.
We still don't know how his power stealing thing works, and so far we've only seen him have 2 separate powers and him giving other people 1 power.
Yes.
No, wait. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
he gives his crewmates a power from people that he steals from.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that his maximum is 2. So the darkness fruit and the earthquake fruit. And then he can just rearrange everybody's stuff. Probably, if they don't already have one.
Yeah. Also, he's gotten much fancier looking since last we saw him.
Yes,
he's always wearing a big hat, and he's upgraded himself. His beard is much bigger. I remember when he first got introduced, it's like, oh, this is Blackbeard. He didn't have a beard. And it's like, he's hardly got a beard. Now he's like, living up to my name. Big beard.
There is some background information dropped here in this sequence that I had to look up because I wasn't 100% sure about what's happening here. So Blackbeard mentions that he met Koby, and Koby helped him in a way during the, what was it, the Rocky...
he's the hero of Rocky Port or something like that.
Yes, the Rocky Port incident.
Yeah.
Which he now kind of describes a little more. That's when Koby helped Blackbeard in a way to topple Wang Ji. Wang Ji. And that's how he gained control over the pirate island. But that's 2 things that are kind of alluded
before, really.
No, it's actually stuff that we kind of know already, but it's named differently. So, Pirate Island is the island where Blackbeard hangs out all of the time. The one with the big skull where everybody's like partying all the time, having pool parties and stuff. And that's where Gecko Moria came to find Absalom and then got shanked.
Yeah, got the suck.
So that island is actually named in Japanese Hachinosu, or often translated as Fuller Lead. And that island used to belong to, well, we know his name here is Wang Ji, but actually his Japanese name is Ochoku. And that is a name that got mentioned by Sengoku in a like volumes before, years ago, where Sengoku mentions the former members of the Rocks Pirates.
And that's one of them.
Yes, that's one of them.
Interesting.
And Ochoku is the literal Japanese spelling or pronunciation of the real life Chinese pirate Wang Ji.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Probably because
I think there's a lot of One Piece characters who are named after real life pirates. Like I think there was a real pirate named Teach. I don't think it was Marshall though. I think it was Edward Teach was a real pirate.
That's Blackbeard.
Yeah. What other ones? I'm
sure
there were lots of. Kuma's first name is Bartholomew. That was another pirate, real life pirate.
Basil Hawkins.
There's
Drake,
a lot of who have like one or other name
Bonnie,
based on some real person.
It's no Stede Bonnet, but
he's saving that. Just like he said, he's saving the classic eye patch pirate look for an important character.
Are you referencing the
No, Oda said that. Someone asked him, how come there's no pirate captain who has like the classic pirate look with, with the eye patch?
Right.
He said, "Oh, I'm saving that for a character later on."
I kind of thought he was.
He's also saving the gentleman pirate.
I kind of thought he was referring to Zoro, who now
He doesn't wear an eye patch.
Missing an eye. Yeah, but he's missing an eye.
Yeah, maybe he'll get an eye patch later on.
I see.
But he doesn't. He just keeps it closed for now.
Fine. So I kind of thought that since Wang Ji is super Chinese, that might be related to a different group of characters that we already know, the Chinjao family from Kanokuni, which is basically Wano, except with
Chinese.
China. But apparently Kano is in the West Blue, and their king, Ramen, was one of the Levely kings.
So that's been passed over already. They're not near there.
Yeah, and also no relation to Wang Ji / Old Chocolate.
Yeah. Okay.
Just in case you were like, oh, China, maybe related.
Yeah.
But no.
Probably not.
Anyways, I just had to dig that up because I was like, that does sound kind of familiar.
Yeah.
And then it turned out that I was half wrong, half right.
It's close enough. Anyway, they have this standoff, and I like that this it's one of those instances where it shows you the different values of the different characters in the conflict, because Blackbeard is like, how about I just kill you? Because if I let you go, you might petrify us too.
Right.
And Koby's like, no, because then all of our men are going to be petrified forever.
Yeah.
And they'll just basically be dead. And Blackbeard's basically saying, I can deal with that one. I don't care. Yeah. I'll let all my guys die if I survive.
The guys he has here are kind of stupid. So, like Vasco shot, and what's her name? Catherine Zeta-Jones, I guess.
That's not her name.
Those aren't his best guys. He has way better guys.
Yeah, but in any case, he's willing to let all the people he brought with him die. Yeah.
That was interesting.
But then, guess who shows up? It's Rayleigh. We haven't seen him for a long time.
He was even trending in Japan.
Yeah.
When the chapter came out.
It's so surprising that he showed up.
Rayleigh! Yeah. But it wasn't just Rayleigh that was the big surprise. The biggest surprise is
first, before you get to it's Rayleigh shows up and he says, well, let's make a compromise that'll let us all leave in peace. And then we don't see how he gets that done. but the pirates and Marines are gone. Yeah.
But his mere presence is like, okay, I'm not gonna deal with this. Let's just bail.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's so powerful that everybody
they know his reputation, so.
Well, and they know that
they don't want to tangle with him.
Even if they engage in battle, they will take such huge losses that it's better for everybody to just regroup and maybe try later.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Although it doesn't explain why Hancock wouldn't just petrify the pirates as they go.
Maybe they do have to look at her, right? So if they all just turn around and leave, she can't do anything, right?
Just run away really quickly. It's like in Dracula Untold, they wear blindfolds to not be scared of Dracula because they can't see him. That's what they need to do to get away from Boa Hancock. They need to blindfold themselves so they'll be immune.
What if you have really strong observation haki? Can you still, like, if you turn around, if you don't look at her, can you still sense her extremely beautiful presence, and then you get petrified?
You get petrified by just thinking about her.
At least one part is getting rock hard.
The big reveal is Rayleigh's buddy Shaki from the bar.
Yes.
Is actually the former empress of Amazon Lily.
That's a minor detail that, like,
gets
like completely glossed over.
Yeah, didn't expect that.
Yeah. When she first appeared, who would have thought that she used to be an Amazon empress?
Yes. 2 generations ago? How old is she?
Better not ask her.
Yeah. She doesn't look like, what's her name? Chopper's teacher?
Oh, Dr. Kureha.
Yeah.
Actually, Doctorine.
Mm.
It's
Yes,
not
you're
a
right.
real word, but
Doctor.
she
She likes to call herself that.
yes.
Yeah. She smokes too, so you'd think that her skin would be worse. But somehow
Maybe
she looks fine.
is vaping better for your skin, or
I don't know, probably.
maybe she's just vaping.
She's just vaping.
This is it. Listen, this is a children's series, so of course she can't smoke. This is just like
Gotta be a vape.
it's made of
Yeah.
bubble gum.
There's smoke
It's a
coming out of it.
It's a lollipop. Listen, it's cold. It's cold, and this is just her breath. Okay.
Anyway, also at the very end,
discovered.
the Marines discuss about how Koby has been kidnapped by the Blackbeard pirates.
Yes, very unfortunate. I didn't expect that.
Yeah. So I wonder if that means that that's part of the deal that Rayleigh made with them to get everyone off the island.
Yes.
That's my assumption.
Maybe Koby is the gentleman pirate now.
Ah, yeah. Maybe he's gonna hang out and join the crew in some weird way. Yeah. So this is a big chapter.
I love
Lots of things happening. Yeah, this is great.
This is my favorite chapter in the whole issue this week.
Yeah.
I gave it 80 points.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I was happy to see Koby. I was very happy to see the Pacifista now being recolored versions of the other warlords instead of just all Kuma.
Somebody said something that I kind of I don't know how to feel about that.
Oh yeah.
The first thing is that if they make Crocodile, we will finally get an answer to if he used to be a woman or a man. Because his child form is going to be the true original.
The unchanged.
And the other thing that was mentioned is that, haha, what will they do with the buggy Pacifista, which I kind of don't think they're going to use. I think they're going to go with the original 7.
Yes, the ones that were before all of the shenanigans.
Before any of them got toppled.
Before they completely changed the roster.
Yes.
I'm also curious what Marco is going to be up to since he didn't join anyone's crew.
I hate his hairstyle, so I don't really want to see him more. It's been the worst forever.
He'll be back.
We don't know where any of the other Whitebeard members are, so maybe he's going to hang out with them.
Could be, yeah. Anyway.
Next manga.
Next manga. Okay. Next we got Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 197, Sakurajima Colony, part 7. So
look how graceful she is.
Yeah. Last week we were like, how was everyone else just kind of pausing their fight while she did the whole training arc in the sumo dimension? And this time they explain, oh, time flows differently. It's a sumo hyperbolic time chamber, basically.
Yes.
So she goes in there, and even though they're doing tons and tons of different sumo bouts, and he's telling her all about his sumo philosophy, it's less than a minute in real time. So it's
imagine you see her walk in there, like, and then you're like, oh, what's that? And then she just gets out of there again and is like, yep, I'm stronger now.
I'm so powerful now. Yeah.
Pretty funny. I almost can take this seriously. At the same time, it's so stupid that's like, fine, let's just go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, let's just continue. We got the two old guys confirming what was discussed before. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We're just here to fight.
Even now, looks at all of this like, who cares?
Yes. Well, I think he said that immediately when they showed up
Yes.
at first.
Yes.
Like, who cares? And they are like, yep, that's right. Who cares?
It's so random to just have to show
out of nowhere. And then one of them gives one of the main characters a power up.
Both of them do. One of them teaches her how to see everything, and then the other one, I guess, just lets her train.
Yeah, it gives her a hyperbolic time chamber to train it.
Yeah.
And Noya does his power up
thing
again, where he goes really fast.
Hates it.
Yes, and he's very not happy that Maki is now also super fast and he can't hit her.
This action sequence is really well drawn.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta
give it to the assistants for drawing all the buildings.
Whoever did it, we have to look at it a little bit longer just to make it last and not have the sacrifice of the assistant's health be in vain.
Good job, guys. I hope you have a nap. You guys have a good nap.
Yes. So Maki does something that I usually kind of like, which is realizing that she can see all of the layers inside the air and the different kind of movements and stuff. I like that. It doesn't make sense how she's able to do that. She's
just raised her senses so greatly by doing sumo enough that she can now. Her eyes
I like that.
Open. She can
I like that she can do it.
Also, she was like talking about how she's improved so much throughout the story. Like how used to be she couldn't even see the cursed spirits, and she was the weakest one of the sorcerers.
Anyway.
But then she got powered up by her sister, and she was getting power up after power up. And now after this latest sumo power up, she's feeling like she can be compared to that person. I'm like, does she mean Fushigoro's dad? And yes, that is who she means, because Noya looks at her attacking him and he sees the shade of Fushigoro's dad. So he's like, she's just like him.
Everywhere I go, everywhere I look, I see him.
I see him. And then they beat him.
He gets so pissed off. He gets so pissed off that everybody gets a really good hit in on him.
Except for Noritoshi.
Well, Noritoshi he watches. But Sumo guy and...
he must be out of blood.
Katana guy just gets such great hits in on him that he gets so pissed.
I like the way that they cut him apart.
Yes. And he gets so pissed that he just expends his domain.
Mm-hmm. Well, what I was going to say about the way they cut him apart that's cool is that the sumo guy attacks him, the katana guy does a big slice, and he's like, whatever, I can just regenerate myself and put the two pieces back together. And then Maki jumps out of nowhere and just pushes the top part away, like, no, you can't. And that's how they cut him in half. And I thought that was great. And also great, because I hate this cursed spirit form of his. I think it looks really bad. Is that after they cut him in half, then he's like, I'm still going to fight. And his human form comes out of it. And he says, time for domain expansion. So
is that allowed to be a cursed spirit and look like kind of like a caterpillar, and then the magician of Majora?
He's had a lot of...
and then you just go back to your normal normal look?
Maybe it's like in Dorohedoro, when you become a devil, then you still have a core that's human-shaped. So when you get killed as a devil, then what's left is a human form. Maybe it's like that. Or maybe this is just a advanced cursed spirit form that that takes on a humanoid shape.
Sure. I mean, a lot of
Either
times
way.
when you play a video game and you've been fighting like gigantic monsters all of the time,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
the
in manga
final
as
boss,
well.
the final boss is just another
Another guy.
dude who's
Yeah.
slowly walking towards you.
Well, I think the meme for it is that often in those things, then the most memorable boss in an action game isn't going to be the giant monsters, but it's going to be just some guy who has the same weapon that you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maire Sekiro.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
So
like this chapter. This was good.
yeah, I liked it pretty well. I'm still just not really a Maki fan, so I'm always met on how she just keeps getting power ups. I did like the team
Yeah.
up attack to destroy Naya and the way he changes form once again.
Mainly because Katana guy was really cool.
Yeah, he's one of the best additions to this
Yeah,
series for a long
he's so
time.
good. It doesn't even matter who he is.
Yeah, he even says it doesn't matter.
So this is my third favorite chapter of this whole issue. It had
Yeah,
really
a good
good
one.
action. I would say Maki's muscles look really good now.
I'm just I would agree, but I don't like her
The
haircut,
scars.
and
It's the scars.
I'm mad on her tiger stripe scars. I think it just looks weird.
Yeah, they don't make any sense.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty good. I would actually. I don't know if I would put it in the top 3 because I also really like the action in Sakamoto Days.
It wasn't as good. I had to reread both
We'll
of them.
talk about that later because before that we got another
Next
chapter of
manga.
the other new series, Tokyo Demon Bride Story. Chapter
Check out
2,
the
Manaka
logo.
in Love.
This
Yeah,
time they put in
the
the
logo
effort to
difference.
make it
Yeah,
look like the
you're
Japanese one.
right. They had someone properly draw it out.
It's the millions of dollars just to make the second chapter of a series that's getting
Yeah, it's
axed
good.
in 18 weeks.
No! Don't end it so soon. Keep it going for longer. I hope this one is better than what we've had lately. We got Jinta here. He's sleeping. I guess it's winter, so this one doesn't take place in real time. And I guess he's been healing his Shuksma Sarira because he's got some manga next to him.
Is that a manga?
I think so.
Oh wait, let me check. I can zoom in on this. Enhance.
The right size for a manga.
すべての what? 美しい All of the beautiful dogs.
Oh.
I don't know, is that a book?
I mean, obviously some kind of book. Is it a real book, do you mean?
Yes.
I've never heard of it.
All of the beautiful dogs.
Any listener who has all of the beautiful dogs as their favorite book, let us know about it in the comments.
The Japanese version has a QR code on the bottom right that kind of looks like an old-timey train ticket.
Yeah, you're right.
And it says you can read the first chapter for free now if you scan this.
Oh, how nice.
Other than that, how do you like this this color page? Because I have mixed feelings.
I like it, but the shadows don't make sense.
Don't they make sense?
Just the pattern from the holes in the trees just looks too splotchy. It doesn't look connected.
Either way,
other than that, I'm fine with it.
I think the colors are nice. I think the scene itself is kind of pointless.
It's bland, I'll say that. It gives you a good idea of the setting, though, because this is an old house that they've inherited, and they are barely scraping by. So I like that it's basically empty with just one little bookshelf in the corner.
No curtains.
Yeah, no curtains.
No
I like that you can see outside the very Japanese setting of seeing the big electrical tower, yeah, with all the wires coming off it.
I like those.
I like that. Yeah, good to see. There's some places where
Um,
that gets like insane though.
yeah,
With
and
the
it's
cables, and you're
really
like, this looks dangerous.
you can take really good photos of those
Hmm.
places. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So we begin
So
the chapter.
wait, so
Hmm.
summary. This is the
Yeah,
chapter in which Manaka accompanies Jinta on
they go
his
to
job where
work.
he helps out in
Yeah.
a cafe. And it starts out with her being ceiling cat watching him
Yes.
masturbate.
Yes, she does the ceiling cat meme.
And he reacts as if she was not an extremely cute girl watching benignly over his sleep.
Uh-huh.
He reacts as if she was doing a Sadako impression. But
Mm.
look at her. She's just like she's so friendly in here. And
I
she
think you'd be pretty
normally
surprised, no matter how they look.
no, because she even opens you can see her open the ceiling
Hmm.
tile. So it's not like
All right,
it's a
yeah.
surprise. Normally
Yeah, it
you'd
would
be
be
like,
scary
wait,
if he noticed it just being
yes.
open. If it didn't have that first panel, he just noticed it being open. He was looking at it like, huh, that's kind of weird. I don't remember that being open. And then his eyes adjust and he notices her just staring at him.
Yeah.
That
And
would be good.
that would have
That would
been
make
good.
it
But this is
scarier.
it's weird how he has this reaction where
Yeah, you're right. You think that if he sees it moving and then her head pops up rather than he notices it open and then he notices her inside in the darkness.
yes.
See, because this sort of implies that she opens it and then she pokes her head out. Then you think he'd just be like, "What are you doing up there?"
Yes.
So the gag could have been constructed a little bit better, but it's just showing how weird she is. But she's very obsessive, and we also get to see. So we were talking just
This was mildly
earlier
funny.
with Ginka and Ryuna about how goblinized they are, and
Hmm.
because Chainsaw Man has moved to Jump Plus, the main magazine needs more goblinized characters, and here we get one, which is
No
Jinta's
problem.
big
I didn't brush
sister.
either.
Yeah, after what's her
Manaka
name,
says, "Oh
Manaka.
no, I went to bed without brushing my
I haven't
teeth, and
brushed
I
my
don't
teeth.
have a
No
toothbrush with
problem.
me." I
I didn't
didn't
brush
brush
either.
it. Um, it's kind of coming out of nowhere. This panel transition. You rarely see this in manga. This rarely happens. I think
Hmm.
Fujimoto kind of does it, but he always actually draws something different. This is kind of like a
Yes,
copy paste, and I think
literally.
this happens way more in superhero comics, from
Hmm.
especially Marvel, where like they try to show how long it took for somebody to respond.
Yes, yeah, just by having multiple panels that are identical. I know what you mean. This I was fine with
It's
this though, just because it's
it's
for
mildly
a quick
funny.
joke, and it's kind of giving me power vibes because the type who doesn't often brush her teeth.
Right, and we now get a little bit more exposition about the family
Yes,
situation. It's still not enough, and nobody's
yeah,
questioning
we
what's
get a floor
happening.
plan at least, and confirmation that it is an old house and their parents aren't around. Um,
That they
and
inherited from the grandpa,
yeah,
and that
so
they
the
also
main thing.
inherited from the father, who is a deadbeat, who with
Yes,
a
the main
lot
thing
of
I wanted to say is that they mentioned there's a basement, but they don't go down there. So
yes,
I guess
they
like their
don't know much
dad
about it.
is their dad is in that car. He's on that car trip with Hohenheim and Grisha.
You mean
Eventually, they come
the
back.
basement is locked, or do you mean he's waiting inside the basement?
No, the basement is
That's
locked.
that would be a funny addition. Like the dad is has always been there. He's
He's
just in
been
the
in there.
basement.
He's like, no, I've just been working from home for a long time.
He's just waiting
Can't believe you
for.
kids haven't ever said anything to me all these years.
Oh, he's waiting for his kids to pay off his debt, and
Mm.
the debt is surprisingly low.
Hmm. Yeah, they've already paid off a bunch of it, didn't they?
Yes, but it was
Yeah,
3 million yen, and 3 million yen is. Do you know how much 3 million yen is?
in dollars.
Yes.
No, I'd have to look up a calculator.
Normally, you would pretend that it's $30,000, but
Hmm.
right now it's way less.
Oh, and even that is like not too much for a big house like that.
Right.
In
Well,
Tokyo.
they do.
Yeah, they
do
even say
that.
it's cheap for a house in Tokyo. Yeah, that sounds right. Because I think here in most big cities, if you want to get a 3-story house like that in a big city, it would be like over $1 million
Billions,
of
gajillion.
US. Yeah, so that would be what?
Check this out. I did some research.
Okay,
I
do
did
some.
some
Tell me
extremely.
what you learned about Tokyo real estate.
All right. So the Chuo ward, right, has the 5th lowest number of residential buildings from before the 60s. And they specifically say this building is from the Taisho era, which is 1912 till 1926. So that's even rarer. The buildings right now in Chuo that are built before 1960 is just 168,000 square meters. And the total in the total in Tokyo is 356 million square meters.
Okay.
And Chuo is the second lowest of all wards with residential space. So like Chuo basically almost doesn't have any residential spaces.
Yeah, so I thought you were just going to say about you looked up the prices of houses there.
No, it will be extremely high because this is such an extremely rare thing. This shouldn't exist, especially not in Chuo. In Chuo, I kind of doubt that this could possibly.
Yeah, so they say Jinta's deadbeat dad, but if the debt has already gone down to that, then it's not that bad for a house like that.
Right. And I did some more snooping on that
Tell
note.
me about the snooping.
So, Hanafuda is not a real Japanese family name.
Okay.
There seems to be no records of anybody ever having that name. Yes. And even further, last week I mentioned there was a different demon who also had the doji part at the end of his name.
About that one.
Other than Shuten Doji, which is Ibaraki Doji, who is mostly known as Shuten Joji's most important servant. And as I thought, Doji kind of just means child.
Okay.
But it's also used for young Buddhist novices.
Oh.
Or one of the attendants of a bodhisattva or Vidyaraja. So it kind of automatically has the implication of being a
kind of holy
spiritual being.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because the Vidyaraja are the angry, the angry Buddhas.
The angry Buddhas. Yeah, if that's how you can describe them.
So if they have some company, it's probably demons.
Yeah.
Wikipedia says it's literally used as a name ender for demon offspring.
Okay. Now we know about that mystery from last week.
That's what I wanted to say.
Right. So with this little meal time, we also learned that the older sister does not currently have a job. So everything is just from Jinta right now.
Right, which is surprising. Because I thought that the sister probably would have some kind of spiritual.
Yeah. I think that maybe she would have been a medium or an exorcist or something, but nope, she's just unemployed.
Her age is also undefined. She could be anything.
Yeah.
And did you notice that she specifically says Jinta's deadbeat dad?
Right.
Not hers.
Not hers.
Because she's only the half-sister.
Yeah. And zero information about the mom as well.
Right. She's also in the basement. Just waiting.
Yeah. Well, I won't say they're in the basement. They're on a trip somewhere. We'll see them later. Anyway,
On a
they go
farm.
out and it's time to earn money because we got to pay off the remainder of that debt. So
Mhm.
Jinta is out and he's helping out this lady in a wheelchair run the cafe.
Mhm.
And of course, they have to get Manaka a cute maid apron. So she's going to help out serving people.
Since she's a
And-
demon, she fucks it up a little bit.
Yeah, she messes up a little. But not as
Here's
much
something
as in the Roboco maid cafe episode.
Yeah.
It's
Here's
fine.
something that kind of bothered me.
Tell me.
There is an overuse of that thought balloon kind of, the one that looks kind of like a
The
sea
spiky
urchin.
one?
The
Yeah.
spiky one. Because in the bottom, Jinta does it, right?
Mhm.
And then in the very next panel, it pops
Right,
up
we
again.
get to Monika's internal
And
monologue.
this time it's Manaka's internal monologue.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
she kind of looks like she's being angrily berated here, I would say. So this kind of is it wrong for me to think that you shouldn't switch inner monologues between two characters in like consecutive panels?
I think if it's on a next page, it's fine. There's
But
enough of a break that way. So
why can't she use the thought balloon,
different thought
kind
bubble?
of cloud?
Yeah.
Why
I don't know.
isn't
I guess the author
because
just
why
doesn't
does
like
it have
those
to be the
thought bubbles.
looming spiky thing? With
It's a
especially with the
stylistic choice.
yeah, but why does it have to be that way?
I understood fine that it's switching to Monika's internal monologue after Jinta's. The thing that I thought was weird, though,
Her facial expression to the
Mhm.
information conveyed in her monologue also doesn't kind of fit.
Oh,
If you
really?
ask me, she doesn't look as if she was thinking about, oh no, they are poor, I have to help them. She looks like she's being chewed out here.
Well, subsequent panel, she's the reason that she wants to help out because they're poor is because she doesn't want Jinta to berate her. And that's her one fear. So that's the gears in her head thing turning. Of, do I have to do something? Oh, well, this is why I would have to do something. The thing that I wanted to point out here is that last week, the older sister asked if her horns were clay or something, right?
Yeah.
Because she thought it was a costume at first. But then in this, the lady who runs the cafe
doesn't even notice
them at first. And it's very contrary to in RuriDragon, where everyone sees them and everyone kind of comments on them. And it makes me wonder, like, are they invisible part of the time? Or
No,
is it just saying that this lady has very poor observational skills?
Yes, that. It's supposed to be a joke that everybody can see them and she just didn't notice them.
Mm.
And that kind of, that kind of throws you off, right?
Yeah, it threw me off.
I think that's bad.
Yeah. I don't like that part.
I also don't like this part where
the sad flashback.
They
with
talk
the dad's elbow
about how he's like, I'm not that great, and then he has this memory of like just being a small child crying, but without any
no context.
information.
It looks like he has a bloody nose. He got hit or was hurt somehow, and the dad just doesn't care.
Is it a dad?
That's what I assumed.
Could be a dad. Could be somebody else.
In either case, it's just sudden sad flashback where he's saying, "I'm not a good person," and there's no context to it, which made me wonder, like, is he remembering something bad that he did then? Like he was the one at fault where he got in a fight or something? It's not explained, because what we do see in the story is immediately after he says that he's not a good person, they notice a thief and he's like, oh, let's go catch the thief.
Yeah.
Which seems like, oh, you are a good person. You're wanting to help out the lady from the cafe, catch the guy who stole her her purse.
He's just being too hard on himself, but I
Yeah.
don't.
He's being well. I can not quite remember examples, but I feel like there's things I've seen before where there'll be a main character who's very hard on themselves, even though their actions seen in the story at the time show them as being a good person. But it will be because they'll have done something pretty bad in the past that kind of haunts them, and they'll hint towards that. And I think that this is the attempt at hinting towards that, but it's unclear. It's too unclear. So
There are probably good examples, and this one is a bad one.
yeah,
This is a bad one. The flashback looks stupid. It's too contextless, nondescript. Could be anything. And it doesn't even do anything. It's just supposed to show that he's hung up about something that's going to come up later, and it's supposed to
learn about it in the future.
Foreshadowed. Oh, look how foreshadowed it was.
I say it a lot. This is one of those times when there's something that might work in a series that you're reading as a big book, or tankobon, but then really feels like it's leaving you hanging for too long when you're reading it week by week.
I wrote down that
this is probably one of those things.
I wrote down that this manga seems to come from too much from the direction of, oh, this would look so good in the anime, if we ever got an anime, because it's having these flashes and scene transitions that I think don't work in manga, because in manga you can take your own time and you can squeeze in so much more information in smaller panels.
Yeah.
And he's just doing the storyboard for the anime he dreams of having.
They're so focused on getting an anime that maybe they'll end up just getting canceled before
exactly.
That would
really dangerous.
Bad. Yeah. So they go and they chase after the thief, who is Shadow Man perpetrator, like in Conan.
The killer.
Yeah, the killer. And they need to get the attention of some tourists.
Yes, only foreigners in Japan. Don't you know it? There's so many instances in Japan nowadays where you have a neighborhood where it's just foreigners and nobody understands Japanese.
Is that real?
There's so many. It's full of them. You can't throw a tissue without hitting a foreigner nowadays.
Isn't it really hard to visit Japan?
Yes, that's the implication. That's the joke.
It's the reverse.
It's the reverse. You can't find a single foreigner in Tokyo nowadays.
Now there's two of them. They need to get their attention. And
I know it's supposed to be a joke that he doesn't know what stop is, like stop him, stop, whatever. So he says, stay with me, and I think that's extremely embarrassing. This is cringe. This is bad. I don't like it.
Is this one of those things like you often say with Blue Box, where it's realistic for a character to do that?
No,
not
because
in a good way, because it's possible that somebody is trying to get someone's attention, but they don't know enough of their language to do it properly.
I will give you like my 99% probably correct assumption that if somebody who's extremely bad at at English, a Japanese person, if they had to improvise the sentence of stop the thief, they would say stop dorobo. Because stop is ubiquitous.
Is it one of those loan words that they all know already?
Yes, it's in the traffic. There's stop is Japanese. You wouldn't forget that stop and stay is not
the wrong word that they're getting wrong.
Just say stop dorobo.
Stop dorobo.
Stop.
They would still be confused, but it would make more sense.
Don't make stupid joke that's not good enough.
Another thing I saw that I was kind of confused about is that it seems like Manaka is the one saying at the end that she joins in the chase, and she says, I'll redeem myself.
Yes.
What does she need to be redeemed from?
Tonight, Manaka joins the hunt.
Yeah, it was unclear to me. Another one of those things where it'll probably be explained at a later date. But
Yeah. Maybe she
Yeah.
wants to redeem herself as a freeloader in the
Oh, it could be. Well,
in the
but
house.
it's not like she's getting money from helping him stop a thief.
She's getting paid in. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, in respect, in his respect for her will go up if she stops the thief.
In
That's what she's getting paid
services.
in. Yeah. Anyway, did you have a number rating for this one?
I do. I always do. This one, yeah, it's 45 points. I say it's
Oof.
bad.
Oh,
I think
okay.
the anime likeness of the pacing is shining through way too much, and it's annoying me.
Okay.
All
Yeah,
of the
that's too
good
bad.
parts can't outweigh this one complaint that I have.
Mm. Yeah. Hopefully it'll improve in future dates. Anyway, next we
Next
got
manga, it's
Sakamoto
Sakamoto Days.
Days, chapter 86, third rate style. So I really like this chapter. It's mostly
Yeah,
just fighting.
yeah,
Yeah.
good chapter.
Yeah, immediately we go back to Shin and friends, and I was like, let's see if Maxie's prophecy comes true. That they're going to fight the teacher, but then get interrupted by the bad guys' invasion.
Yes.
Not quite. Maybe it will next week.
Well, not yet. They still
Yeah.
have to get to the point where they might be able to get a good hit in on Satoda Sensei.
Yeah.
The explanation with the glove, where Seba is just
Oh,
like, I
I didn't really care for that.
it's way too convenient. He's like,
Yes.
okay, I adjusted it to your 0.5 second future sight, and
Mm-hmm.
if you learn how to look more into the future, I can adjust it so it becomes more powerful. That's so stupid. It's too convenient. You can't do that. It was already
Always
too
matches
convenient.
up with with his power.
It's almost as if it was made for him, and it still doesn't make sense why it would have a delay at all.
Yeah, exactly. So that part
I
was
know,
it
like,
was just the explanation for the glove working better is just too convenient, but I do like the rest of the battle
yes,
and all the discussion with Akira about her ability to see the path to being able to kill an enemy.
because this panel here, where Shin looks at her like dot dot dot,
Mm-hmm.
he's thinking about like I can milk that.
Yeah,
Because
he's learning.
previously he was able to move according to somebody else's vision, or
Mm-hmm.
rather, hearing.
Yes,
So
that's
this
right.
time he's like, oh, if I just read her mind, I can see the
Yes,
line as well.
yeah, because they start out fighting and all three of them attacking still just can't touch her
Yes. But
because
Akira is kind of catching up.
yeah,
The more she's fighting, the better she
the
gets.
better she
And
gets
Sakura
to where the sensei is
Sensei,
like, oh, it's almost like playing with Rio. It's like, yeah, well, it's the next generation version of Rio.
yes, maybe play more with her, but she doesn't want to. She wants to
No,
end this because it would mean putting Akira in danger, and we
that's right.
can't have that in the assassin school where they are getting
Where the
taught
teachers shoot
to.
at you.
Yes. So then, since Akira can only see the chasm, Shin just takes over, and he's like, "I can do it.
Yes,
Let me
because
handle Jiren."
yes, and he has a line like, "Let me take this path" to her,
Yes.
saying like he's gonna take her path, clarifying exactly how he's finding the way to attack the sensei, even though earlier he was totally unable to beat her.
Hmm.
So I love that. It's a great team up of their powers. I always like it in stuff where characters have abilities that end up becoming synergistic with each other later.
Yes. It
Good
was good.
stuff. Yeah, it's like not that much to say, but I really liked it.
72 points.
Yeah, nice. All right,
It's
yeah, they
only
didn't
the
get interrupted yet, but we shall see about it next week.
for me. It's
There's
only the
none.
favorite chapter.
Yeah, I said
The
it was
action
my
was
kind of
good, but
third
it
favorite.
wasn't that good.
I
was
liked
just
it. I like it more than what do you call it, Jujutsu, because I like Shun and Akira, and I just don't really care about Maki.
I was the complete opposite. I was wowed by the artwork and was able to overlook my dislike for Maki.
Anyway, next, tell me about
Next manga, it's Blue Box
Blue
time. Blue
Box.
Box dumb. Next.
Oh, as always.
No,
Next
okay.
manga.
So no. Okay, I'll keep it quick. So
Alright.
this is the chapter in which Ayame joins the badminton club
The new
as a
villain.
manager, and
Yeah.
yes, she's kind of like the new villain because I made a mistake. So I assumed that she was going to join the club because she was
Mhm.
constantly looking at Taiki like, oh, who's that? I like him. And now she's like, wait, where's the kid with the bowl cut? And she was referring to Yusa,
Oh,
the
his
guy from
friend.
the guy from the
No?
different school he was fighting,
Oh.
the one where it was an actual sports manga.
So
And
she joined the wrong club.
no, she joined the wrong school
Yeah, that's funny.
because she only likes that guy. She only saw him
Hmm.
once. Even
And
though
she's like, I
there's
like that guy. I want to hang out with him.
yeah, well, hang out with her. She kind of wants
He wants to take him to the AV club, the AV room with
yes,
her.
yes. She wants yes. And then everybody's like, "Oh, you were talking about someone who's not even at
From a
this
different
school."
school.
So
So she's
she's
like,
like,
it's
"Okay,
time
bye
now.
bye."
I like her
And
face here. That's funny.
yeah, it's funny. It's especially funny because Haryu is her sister's boyfriend, so he's kind of
Hmm.
like her brother-in-law. So it's
Yeah.
I didn't even consider this connection, but it totally makes sense that he's the one who gets the privilege of scolding her and telling her like, "You little
Makes
shit,
sense.
you want to quit right
He
away
knows her
just because
best.
the guy isn't here. You have to stay here."
Hmm.
And she actually follows her
She
brother-in-law's
agrees. Yeah,
advice.
she's like,
Well, advice.
fine.
He still makes Taiki show her around,
Hmm.
and it's very convenient how there's a spider, and she gets scared of
Ah,
spider.
jumps into his arms.
Gets
And the
way
spider's
too
going to
close to
cover
him.
up what seems like a kiss to everybody else.
Don't switch pages. Answer me.
Okay.
What do you think is happening in the next page?
One of the other girls is going to see this.
Well, which one?
Chinatsu?
Yeah. Chinatsu opens the door and he's like, "Oh no, it's not what you think. There was a spider." And since
It's just like the
she's
confetti situation again.
kinda Ayame is little sister of Chinatsu's best friend, so she
Hmm.
also kind of has
She
like
kind of knows her.
this connection, and
Hmm.
she runs to Chinatsu like, "Ah, Chinatsu, save me!" And he's like, "Oh, you're making it sound like I did something to you." And Chinatsu actually treats him that way, and then she
Oh
sees the
no!
spider. Then she sees the spider, and he's like, "No, see, it was a
It was the
spider."
spider's fault. I did nothing wrong.
And he's like, "Oh no, wait, I forgot. Chinatsu senpai also hates bugs." And then Chinatsu just throws him out and has this moment of looking at her hand, like, "I have the power to fight." And then he's like, "Oh, I guess she overcame it." That was
This is
the
like
only
the
good
heroine
part.
haircutting scene of this series,
No,
overcoming her
it's
fears.
the moment when after training for
Hmm.
years and years, like after a training montage,
After you get out of the sumo dimension,
yes, she
this is what
suddenly
you
is able
realize.
to kill the small fry enemy who
Yeah,
was giving her so much trouble, and now she's like, "I have the power to fight." That was the only good part, I would
I
say.
like that. That's funny. You were like, you introed this chapter saying that nothing happened, but I like it. I like the jokes in it that you're showing me.
Uh, it gets worse because
What happens next?
Taiki is with Ayame and telling her like he's teaching
Oh,
her
they
some
repeat
stuff.
it. They repeat
Yes,
the spider
it's
thing.
so stupid. They repeat it because he's like, you're getting sometimes getting a little bit too close to me, and that's causing problems for me because I wouldn't want more rumors
Yeah, I
going
don't want more
around.
rumors about me.
I already
You're
have way too
ruining my
many.
reputation.
And then she's like, well, why do you even care? Only the people who are close to you should care about that.
Yeah.
The problem is the one person who's really close to him does care, and he doesn't want that. So Chinatsu Senpai, of course, sees them again, and just in
Does
the
she
second
kill the
one,
spider again?
no, he's like, there was a spider again, and then Chinatsu just like does the most obvious like 180. Oh, I gotta buy some drinks. Bye.
So it was
And
nothing. They
yes,
set up for drama, but nothing happened.
yes, I didn't.
It was all okay. This chapter was so then you would say this is one of those chapters that's zero plot and 100% just for the funnies. Would you say that? I guess it's plot of
yes,
adding her to as the manager, so she'll be around more consistently.
yes, and I described it. She was going to be a catalyst to push Taiki and Chinatsu to do more because she always would get in the way and get moves on Taiki, which would then probably speed up Chinatsu's progress of maybe falling in love with him. Because then it's like, oh, it's urgent. I have to snatch him away because anybody else can do it. But kind of doing the opposite in this chapter, if you think about it, because she's always like, oh, well, maybe
it's just a spider.
maybe I won't. No, she's turned off by seeing him with another girl.
Oh, okay.
I actually gave this an okay rating, so 58.
Okay. Yeah, well, it does seem pretty funny, so.
It was mildly funny.
Yeah. Going on?
Akane-banashi.
Yeah, the Shiguma Rakugo quote.
Does this color page looks slightly familiar to you?
When I looked at this, my first, you know what my first thought was?
What was
my first thought was, oh, he really didn't want to draw their feet. And that's why I put this guy in front of them.
To me, it immediately looked familiar because I've seen the real meme. Show me the real meme. Yeah!
Yeah, it's
a parody of Attack on Titan. No, it's
wow, I can't believe these 80s kids did a parody of Attack on Titan. They were so forward thinking.
It's because Eren gave them the vision through the Attack Titan.
Oh, that's right.
He gave them the vision that they have to.
You can send it back in time.
Yes.
He showed them this. I miss Attack on Titan memes. I'll have to go look at Attack on Titan memes later.
Is the anime still running?
I think. I don't know, because they had the final season last year, and then they were like, "Oh, actually, we have not. We couldn't finish it, so this is the final season, part 1, and actually, there's going to be another final season next year. I don't know if that's come out yet.
Still missing.
Yeah. Okay, well, here's the difference between the English and the Japanese.
By the way,
for once, the Japanese has the English title on it because they're parodying this.
Oh yeah, that's right. Didn't even notice that.
Yeah.
But the author actually does confirm that this is specifically supposed to be The Breakfast Club because he loves the movie.
Yeah, it's funny. The main thing I remember about that movie is just the goth girl gets a makeover, and the guy who likes her has to pretend that it's like a big upgrade to make her happy, even though it's like a obvious downgrade. You remember that part at the end of the movie?
I didn't even watch the movie.
Okay. Well, that happens. So
I know the movie exists. Okay.
Anyway, Akane-banashi. They introduce a new senpai who just so happens we've never met before, but here he is. We needed to add one more person to be able to lay in front of everyone else, and here he is.
Look at this player.
Yeah, he's he doesn't have the tan and the dyed hair, but he's
He's the kind of guy who would steal your girl in one of my.
He would go behind enemy lines to steal their girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that type.
He's extremely dangerous. He mustn't be. He's not allowed to exist. It's too dangerous.
And
See what
especially
he's doing
since,
to the sexy glasses teacher.
yeah, immediately he's like, let's go out drinking, and he starts hitting on the Akane's teacher.
It's a privilege and an honor to spend time with such a lovely lady.
Yeah. So this chapter is basically just one of those denouement chapters. It's like Luffy and the crew having a banquet after all their fighting.
Ah, yes. One of those
Yeah.
words, the denouement.
Yeah. And
Or the Deuteronomist.
yeah, just like that. And they accidentally they kill Kyoji with a drink that's too strong because he's weak to alcohol, and none of them remembered it.
I drank it too high once when I landed. I landed after from a long plane ride to Tokyo. I was
And they gave you a too
so
strong of a drink.
thirsty. I was so thirsty, and I was like, "Oh, this one has lemon. I love lemon."
Oh
Let
no.
me drink lemon. Oh no, it's alcohol.
I remember once in college, I was out with some friends just after a test. We're like, oh, let's go to, I think it was a Buffalo Wild Wings, some like
Nice.
chain place. We're like, let's just get some hot wings as a celebration because we finished that big test. And one of my friends, he's like, I'm thirsty.
Here we go.
Yeah, we went to Femboy Buffalo Wild Wings, and one of my friends was just looking through the menu and ordered. He's like, I'm really thirsty. I'm gonna order this. So he ordered a drink, and he's like, oh, this is a bit sweeter and it tastes a bit different than I expected. It's pretty good. He's drinking it, and
he died.
He is visibly getting wasted.
Was very funny.
Yeah, like during the short time, and we're like, what did you order? That must have been really strong. He's like, no, I didn't get anything with alcohol. It's just an iced tea. We looked at the menu. It's a Long Island iced tea, and it had like 3 different shots of different alcohol in it. So he got a very strong alcoholic iced tea, and didn't realize it when he was reading the menu. Yeah.
And you noticed that it was triple the price of a normal iced tea.
I guess he wasn't paying attention enough.
He just thought it was such a good iced tea.
He learned so after
delicious.
that night. Yeah, exactly. That's
kind
of what happens to
really
this guy
delicious
here.
iced tea right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what kind of alcoholic beverages are you gonna put in it?
Too high, probably.
Yeah. Then Shiguma comes in.
Yeah, this was a good moment.
Yes.
I kind of wish when everybody's kind of being a mess, I kind of wish that they had been more of a mess, like a little bit more chaos. More community.
The problem with that is that none of them are the kind of guy who wears a tie. So you can't have one of them having their tie as a headband instead of a necktie.
Right.
Shiguma
needs to come in with pizza. Something needs to burn.
Something has to be on fire.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not quite that bad. But he comes in and they're all like, oh shit, he's going to be mad at us. It's revealed
what a disgrace. If you're going to dance, put your entire soul into it. I won't allow any of this half-ass nonsense. And he does have a point, because since they're all entertainers.
Yeah, they're all pro entertainers.
They should bring their A game even when they're
just
goofing
with each
off.
Other, partying, yeah.
And then they all goof off together.
Yeah. They're goofing off in sync, so it's more professional. And I looked at this page and I was like, their battle is only just beginning.
Yeah.
It's like a final page for a series.
I think last really week, good with those.
Yeah, I think especially with the title of that it's a wonderful world. They're talking about all the different things they learned for Rakugo. That's what makes the world of Rakugo
almost
such a wonderful
title
world.
Of the final Doron chapter.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, almost exactly. Do you have any other comments about this other than it seems like the ending chapter, other than they added a brand new character. Other than that, it seems like it's the ending.
Shiguma has this at the end, the moment where he's like, "Let's talk a little bit about what you
Part
talked
2
with
of talking
Show."
to a master.
And you know what? Talking as the epilogue with your master about the adventure you just had. That as well could be the final chapter. Final chapter.
A final chapter.
I do hope that they talk about, like, yeah, I kind of know that your dad was kind of shit. I just never told you.
But I wanted to encourage you to become better than he ever was. That could be a way it goes. Yeah.
This is needed. We do need to know.
Yeah, because like, remember how nervous he was when he was getting ready to talk to her mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
because he was hiding the secret that the dad was shit all along.
Aw. It's like in Avengers where Hulk says, "That's my secret. I'm always angry." In this, it's Akane's dad. That's my secret. I was always bad at Rakugo.
Anyways, I gave this chapter a fine rating, 62.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I would have said it's a 7 out of 10. I enjoy their little party scene.
It would have gotten 70 if something had been on fire.
Yeah, they weren't quite as messy as they could have been. Anyway, going on. We got the Elusive Samurai, Chapter 77, The Side of Justice.
This is the chapter in which Mochizuki intercepts the rear attack from the player dude.
Yeah.
While Tokiyuki sneaks towards
Iwamatsu is his name. The surfer man.
And I keep forgetting her name, this girl.
I also keep forgetting this girl's name.
She's so calm about this guy. Like the ultimate playboy who's come to steal your girlfriend.
Yeah, so she is like, she calmly talks to him and is trashing him, saying that he's so sleazy for fighting specifically to be able to kidnap women. And he says, "It's okay because my victims come to love me."
That's my favorite.
Wait, you said you just called them your victims. Don't try to sound cool.
That's my favorite trope. Like, ends up liking it.
Yeah, but it's funny the way that he says it. It's, even though he's trying to defend himself with that statement, it's clear that he understands, like, he is being a sleazy guy.
And his minions are. He's the upper echelon of that guy. He's not the fat ugly bastard.
Yeah.
He's the Shibuya Tan.
He's the good looking that guy. But his underlings are not. They're the sleazy guys who can't even hide behind being good looking.
This is dangerous. A book is about to become thin.
Oh no. I don't want that for her.
Don't you?
But fortunately, Mochizuki comes and saves the day.
Yes, he uses the Smash Bros move where, like, you do the smash attack with a baseball bat and the enemy just gets KO'd off the stage immediately. It's just a
ding in the distance. And we get the other normal guy showing up.
Yes, normal guy. He's very normal. Guy.
I loved his introduction.
What's her name? The strong girl challenges him, and he's like, "No. What are you doing on the battlefield? Let me teach you. Let me teach you how strong a man can be when he's fighting with women on his mind."
The part I liked is when they introduce each other, or they introduce themselves to each other because they're gonna have a fight, and she's talking about or she mentions, what else does she mention? She mentions a bunch of stuff that he obviously thinks is very good character traits for an OC.
Does she? I don't remember.
She introduces herself to him, saying that she's the daughter of Mochizuki. She's a shrine maiden at the Suwa Grand Shrine, and she is Hojo Tokuyuki's Binjo, which is some sort of female attendant for a warrior.
Sure.
And she also announces that she's only 10 years old. So this guy looks at her, and he's the gears start turning in his head, and he's like, she's robust for her age. She's a lord's daughter and a shrine maiden and a binjo. I shall take your traits under advisement. It's like you can tell, oh, this is a man who makes female OCs.
What does that mean, taking her under advisement?
Taking her traits under advisement.
Yeah, what's that?
She's also like, what does that mean?
What does it mean?
I think it means that he's going to remember all her traits and use that to advise, his next OC.
And then he hopes that one of his friends draws his OC.
Yeah, because he's not like Uematsu. He's not going to go out and steal women. He creates his own.
The perfect man. He doesn't even need women anymore. He doesn't need 3D PDDs anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was surprised he is okay with teaming up with Uematsu, because they're very different. I'm like, oh yeah, of course, he's going to be like, you can take all the 3D P. I'm going to go with my 2D waifus.
So I like this panel where the evil femboy is whispering into his ear, like, listen up, there's some hot babes over there. And he's like, seriously?
Yes, and
just the thought of it is...
He recognizes all the quirks of the strong guys on his side. He's like, I'll exploit them for maximum tactical advantage.
The breath and ASMR of a femboy inside his ear is enough to give him like a nose boner, and immediately...
And then telling him, there's a bunch of girls over there. You can go get them.
Immediately strikes and rushes into action.
So, I was looking at this panel and thinking, the Ashikaga twink seems way smarter than Tokiyuki in this chapter.
Yes, of course, because Tokiyuki kind of he barely knows how to make use of his retainers.
Yeah. So hopefully the journey for this arc is going to be to get on this guy's level before he can go and fight the final boss.
Yes, that's the goal.
Yeah. But for now, Tokiyuki is much less tactical, I guess, than this guy, because he does what I think is probably the dumbest move possible.
Yes, possibly.
Because they're like, let's go beat Shibukawa. He talks to, what's his face, the guy who previously got owned really fast because he rushed in. Yeah, Kojiro. So he's like, Kojiro, let's go and have a rematch with Shibukawa. If we take him out, it'll turn the tide of battle to our side. So they're like, they grab the enemy's flags and are going to go sneak up.
Messengers?
Yes, we'll pretend to be messengers on their side so we can sneak through their battle lines and get to Shibukawa. Like, oh, that is really clever, because then you can sneak attack him, even though
instead
he powers up when he senses unfairness. But instead they drop the enemy banners and they're like, we're gonna fight you 2v1 just like you don't like. And I'm like, that's wrong. You're gonna power him up, but also lose your advantage of stealth that you had just now.
And like, if you're gonna do this behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
Anybody could jump up and kill them right now.
They've really put themselves in such a disadvantageous position. They've gone behind enemy lines where the boss has a lot of minions around him, and then they've given the boss a buff.
What if that's the plan of making him so mad that he attacks recklessly, and since
kills his own guys.
yeah, because Tokiyuki
can
loves
dodge
dodging,
so well.
so he's just using Shibukawa as like a stage hazard that he just needs to dodge.
Do you think it's actually like a double quirk power up plan, because he realized that Shibukawa's attack power go up when he senses unfairness, but then Tokiyuki's power goes up when the enemy attacks more and he has more to dodge? Do you think that could be it?
I thought you meant Shibukawa might like get completely crestfallen when he accidentally killed some of his own guys, because that would be relatively unhonorable. Dishonorable.
Yeah.
That would be a double buff debuff.
It could be, but it just, we'll see what it turns out to be next week, because just the straightforward reading of it, I'm thinking this seems very unwise for them to do. Why would you power up your enemy this way?
Yes.
If you're going to sneak, stab him in the back. If you're going to do a 1v1 challenge, or if you're going to do a challenge, do a 1v1 where he's not going to be powered up by his sense of unfairness. This is the worst of both worlds.
There must be a plan behind this.
Yeah. Well,
otherwise,
either way, I don't like that Tokiyuki did this. Even though I do like Ishido versus Ayako, and I also do like the demonstration of intelligence from the enemy twink.
We still don't have any conclusion on the thing that I predicted, which is that what's his name? Uno needs to get powered up.
He's gonna get back up again.
Yeah, because him seeing that they are trying to get the women must get his blood boiling so hard that he's erupting.
Yeah,
and that will turn the tides.
Instead, they have Mochizuki fighting with Iwamatsu. It should be Uno. Bring him back.
So this chapter gets a fine ranking from me. It's 64 points.
Nice.
2 better than Akane-banashi, in my opinion.
Really?
Well, because Akane-banashi only got 62.
Okay, just slightly better. Yeah. They're pretty, I guess they're pretty close in level of enjoyment. I guess I would say that this ending part kind of I actively disliked.
Deflates some of
deflated the parts that I did like. Oh well. Going on, something that
next manga.
Yeah, it's Witch Watch. Another thing that I was excited for at the beginning, but a little bit deflated for as it went. Yeah, this wasn't as good as I had hoped for.
This chapter is
chapter 76, Moi's Denim Devotion Part 2. So at first I was like, oh, this will be funny. Because it'll be again about Moi's weird fashion obsession. But then as I was reading it, I was like, oh, this feels almost like he's doing a recap of it.
He didn't go as in depth last time when he was talking about how to make the whiskers on the jeans settle in, because this time it's a straight up tutorial on how to do it and what not to do.
My main takeaway from this chapter is that Bondo is going to be so good at taking care of his jeans after this. Because Bondo learns from reading manga. The photographic memory for manga. So after this chapter, Bondo his jeans will be so crisp. But then the level of funniness in it was not as high as I would have hoped.
Yes, because it was mainly just info dump. Haha, it's funny that this guy is doing it wrong, info dump.
And they even kind of lampshade it with a line at one point where they're like, didn't you already say this all before? It's like, yeah, Moi has said a lot of this stuff verbatim before. And they just brought it back. So this chapter was not as funny as I would hope for. Yeah, Keigo. Oh, to explain it a bit more, Keigo gets into fancy jeans because he saw a celebrity on TV talking about it.
That's what it takes to make him
That's what it
interested in
takes for
something.
him.
He's the kind of person who just wants to jump on any kind of trend and be like the first one who jumped on it. And if he's not the first one, then he doesn't even care about it. So that's why he saw it and was like, that's cool. I want to do that.
He jumps on trends, but also gets bored of them quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is how Moi is just constantly doing the info dump and then no, don't do it this way.
No, you didn't learn it all. You need to learn more about how to take care of it. It's like taking care of a baby.
Such a tender ceremony to bathe your first child.
Washing the starch out of your first child.
You.
And of course, as expected, Keigo gets bored of it. And
did you read the author's comments?
I didn't. Oh, I was also going to say Wolf does show up.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just not on screen enough at all. Because I was like, oh, Wolf is back. Haven't seen him for a while. I wonder if there's going to be any hijinks.
No, the joke is that you're supposed to do heavy lifting kind of work where you really stretch
the fabric set the wrinkles in perfectly.
And it only takes one
maybe
night.
Maybe you should get a part-time job doing manual labor to help set the wrinkles into the jeans. And he's like, I don't want to do it. And then Wolf shows up and is like, I'm not going to do manual labor for him. But then gets in a fight with a random gang that has a random grudge against him. And
that's all it takes.
All the physical activity for that is what it takes to set the jeans properly. So at the end the gag at the end is that they both have jeans with the wrinkles in it they wanted, but it's not exactly their own doing.
Right, because remember that Moi is wearing the jeans from
Miharu's dad.
And haha, funny.
So it's kind of the
nice
ending
callback.
Gag, and it's a callback, but it's kind of just a repeat of when Moi's birthday he got really fashionable on accident.
So since it's on topic, let me just say that Witch Watch's author Kenta Shinohara starts questioning himself for good reason, because he's like, I looked around the town and nobody's wearing jeans. What am I doing?
Oh no! Aw, that's sad. He's like the Keigo now. He's giving up on his hobby.
Keigo.
No.
So this chapter only got 60 points out of me, which is very low considering that Witch Watch is kind of like my favorite series.
I would say the same. Yeah. Usually I say Witch Watch is underappreciated by the Shonen Jump fandom in general.
Yes.
But
nobody understands its heart and nobody understands.
Yeah. Because usually it gets a very high rating for me, but this time I was it felt like a retread of previous stuff. It's kind of too bad.
Yeah. Some of the jokes are not as good, and they don't become funnier if you repeat them.
Yeah. Oh well. Going on. Next we got Black Clover, chapter 337. You said you read this one? Did you read Black Clover this week?
I read it.
You read Black Clover?
I just wanted to see if Asta is now in Wano.
Yeah.
And having fun.
He's not quite having fun yet, but he is in Wano. So this chapter, it begins with the other magic knights from the Black Bull squad. I don't know if they're called squads or teams.
Let's call them dudes.
Huh?
Dudes.
Like yeah.
Like
the other
old dudes.
The other dudes. They're hanging out at their home base, and the shadow guy comes in to inform them that everyone has presumed Asta is dead, but since he didn't see his corpse, he must still be alive. So let's go find him. And they all just march out of the place. So here they are all being like, there's no way he's dead. Let's go find him. And they just all leave the
look
HQ.
Look at this. Asta's right there.
Yeah, that's luck, and sometimes he really looks like Asta. He just doesn't have the thing on his head. He's got
that's
his otherwise
right.
like short, messy
You know
haired guy.
what?
He's different
You know
colored,
what?
so in the anime, that's
That
how you
makes
tell
him
the
look
difference.
so much better than Asta, actually.
Yeah.
Asta bad.
He's not the most exciting guy in Shonen Jump. Anyway, I thought it was really dumb that when they're like, let's go find Asta, they all leave the HQ immediately. Because I'm thinking, like, the shadow guy just told you that he couldn't reach Asta's shadow with his power, so he presumes Asta is either on another continent or in a different dimension. In which case, like,
Yes.
why are you all leaving the HQ? You'd think that at that point you'd be like, okay, let's discuss how we are going to find him instead of just walking out of here.
It just so happens that everybody had to go to the toilet at the same time.
Yeah, Yami's there. He's been taking up the toilet forever. So they just all go. Meanwhile,
He's
Asta
toilet
wakes up
guy.
in Wano, and they meet. He gets introduced to a new character who is the shadow looking over him at the
What
end of
was
the
his
last
name?
chapter.
Something like Ryujin.
He has an alliterative name, really kind of like Tatsumi Tatsunami. His
Yeah.
name is Shogun Ryuya Ryudo.
I don't like it.
Yeah, so this
dumb.
guy, he starts talking to Asta, being like, "Oh yeah, I knew Yami when we were kids, and I know what happened to you. You got slashed and teleported, and I can see things with my eye under this Suba eye patch."
He's the eye patch character that Oda was constantly.
We just missed him in Wano.
He was there all along. He was waiting for us.
Yeah, he was always there. And basically, he just straight up tells Asta, well, you're in Wano now, so it's time for you to have a training arc, because not only I was able to watch all of your previous adventures with my magic eye, I'm also able to use my magic eye to tell me that if you go back now, there's no way you're going to win. You will lose if you try to fight Lucius again. So you have to stay here and have a training arc.
Again.
He's not an old lady. And yeah, that's basically it. He also asks Asta if Yami still takes a long time on the toilet. And Asta says yes.
What's the deal with Asta always getting these sparkle eyes, but in situation where it's not appropriate?
I don't know. That's actually one thing that reading through the older chapters I never liked, is every time he gets the sparkle eyes, because I feel like it's supposed to be similar to when like Luffy and Usopp and Chopper get sparkle eyes for
but they get
they
sparkle eyes when they see a robot.
Is cool. But then Asta's, first of all, he's having it too often.
Yes.
Second of all, I don't like the way it's drawn.
Yes.
Because instead of just the pupils becoming sparkly, it looks as if suddenly his eyes are made of a completely different material. It's weird. It's a strange stylistic decision that I didn't really appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this chapter, even though there is a girl that I didn't take a screenshot of, but the Shogun's assistant is the new female character that people are like, oh, who's she? She's so cool looking. And she doesn't actually
character.
Yes, new thin book character. Even though I don't even think she has any speaking lines in this chapter. All she does is open the door to show Asta what Wano looks like.
We must find out her name so we can look her up on rule34.xxx.
That's the main thing to be looking forward to for next week of Black Clover, is who's that girl, so I can look her up. Yeah.
New fetish acquired.
This chapter is, I guess it's fine as like an intermediate chapter in between stuff. There's nothing that I'm like, this is really bad, but also I'm kind of like, this is way too convenient.
Yes.
That it. So Sister Lily in paladin form slashed and then teleported to Asta.
Yeah.
And entirely coincidentally,
It's
he
like
landed
Bartholomew
somewhere
Kuma.
that Ryuma could get to quick enough to save him. And I was thinking for a moment, like, oh, maybe even though Lucius said that he changed her soul and now she will be on his side and want to kill Asta, maybe since, they've been friends since childhood, maybe subconsciously she was like, oh, I want to help him, so I'll teleport him to somewhere that'll help him. But in that case, it wouldn't be Wano, because the only person in the Clover Kingdom that knows where Wano is Yami.
Yes.
He grew up there. And everyone else has no idea where it is. So she wouldn't know. So that means that it's just completely coincidental. Unless the Shogun here also has someone who can teleport, and he actually teleported him back to Wano from somewhere else. Which is also possible.
Could it be that Asta actually was like in the Pacific Ocean and then he accidentally got washed up on the shore of Japan? And
the thing is that no, if it's something like that, it's still a wild coincidence, right?
Yes.
Because in here, the only way I can think that it would end up being logical to my mind is if Ryuya also has someone with spatial magic that can teleport, and he saw with his magic eye that Asta is somewhere and he's gonna die. So he teleported over to him, picked him up, and then teleported back to Wano. That's the only way I can think it would make sense. But then in that case, then it makes me wonder why he never teleported over to hang out with Yami before. Because he's like, oh, I haven't seen Yami since we were 13.
Ooh.
It's like, oh, if you're such good friends, like, why didn't you ever teleport over?
It's because he only recently got the person who has the spatial magic.
That would explain it. Yeah,
and
sure.
Maybe he also has to sit on the toilet very long. So he was like, it's such a long trip. I better get to the toilet, and that's what he's been doing since finding the person and then finding Asta.
It's just been a very long dump.
Just so happens to be this exact timeline. It's crazy. Yeah. I know.
Anyway,
you wouldn't believe it. It makes sense if you read the whole manga, but unfortunately,
we haven't.
We're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave it 69 points.
Nice. I would have said 6 because there's just so much that just to me doesn't make much sense. Even though I like the setting change. Yeah. That Asta is now going to be hanging out in Wano. That's fun.
Man, say nice thing.
Yeah, I want to see what he learns there. Because another thing is, previously he discussed with Yami, and to a lesser extent, Julius talks about it a bit, about ki, and that magic knights generally, they don't bother trying to be able to detect ki, because they're all about just spells, mana and spells. But then Asta learns from Yami a little bit about how to see ki. And then
so ki is a thing.
Yeah, ki is a thing in this, where mana is what you have in your body to cast spells. But then ki is sort of the energy that is in your body and all living things. And if you can watch the flow of ki, you can sort of determine how something is going to move. So
ki is your HP and mana is your MP. Problem solved.
Not quite, but it's a different power than has been used for the most part.
You heard it here first.
Yeah,
I cracked the code.
Anyway, going on. Next we have.
Even say it's key information.
Yeah. Well, it will be throughout this training arc. Next manga we got.
Next manga. What's
Me and
next?
Roboco. Chapter 104. Ruri and Takoyaki. The whole gang's here.
Chapter. This is a chapter in which everybody fawns over Bondo during a takoyaki gathering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it starts off with Ruri being there and being like, "Oh no, Bondo is so handsome.
I love her mental image of him." And then her brother and Matsuo just look really dorky.
Yeah, and unfortunately, she's not the only one who
No,
thinks that
it turns
Bondo
out
is extremely handsome
Yeah.
and desirable and nubile because
Maruko is also there.
Maruko-chan is
She also
getting
wants to
extremely
feed
mad.
him takoyakis.
She's so mad that she turns into the Sea King, also known as Neptunian, who bit off Shank's arm.
Yes. Oh yes, they actually mentioned Neptunians in One Piece, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "Oh
Sea
yeah, it's a
King.
different translation of Sea King." I'm used to seeing it just as Sea King.
That's because it's Viz.
Yeah, I'm reading it on a different source now.
But
Then
Madoka has
Madoka
different
also
modes.
gets the cool guy transformation.
Even she can be handsome, and
Mhm.
Bondo is like, shit. It's really, I'm really
good.
getting a boner right now. Gonna pre. And but
She's not
Madoka
the only
also
other
isn't the only one
challenger either.
because Motesugi Shun is also extremely huff about.
Yes. Much huffing and puffing over giving him takoyaki.
You know what the funniest bit about this whole thing is?
What?
Yuzuru is present and he has literally no lines.
Oh yeah. His
He
mind
watches
is overwhelmed with just reading the
Roboco.
thoughts of everybody being so horny for Bondo.
Maybe he's getting lost in Roboco's mind again, and that's why he didn't say anything. Because there's no way that he would be present and not like getting an aneurysm just from having
from everybody's into thoughts.
Like it would be as if a million voices were shouting Bondo, and then suddenly disappearing.
But that would distract too much from it being a Ruri POV chapter.
Ruri had a really good relationship
chart. Yeah.
Where everybody is handsome. Even her brother.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has the love
towards Bondo.
But for some reason Bondo has huff towards Shun.
What could that be?
Also, it was also funny how his relationship to Madoka is just, hey babe.
No, that's his relationship to Ruri.
Oh wait, sorry.
Yeah, his relationship to Madoka is question mark.
Have you seen the? You probably haven't. I have to show you. It's really funny. The sexy Minecraft Steve going, "Hey babe," and then shitting himself.
No, I haven't.
Is
that what this made you think of?
Yes. Anyways, that's beside the point. So
yeah.
Since everybody loves Bondo so much, Ruri absconds to the kitchen. He's like, "Oh,
she's so embarrassed. She's like, "Oh, my takoyaki they're such a mess compared to everyone else's takoyaki."
And then
he's
Bondo
not gonna want
shows
these
up.
anymore. Fat Bondo shows up because he's gotten stuffed.
I had to leave as well because everybody was just getting too much into
I'm too full.
Feeding me the takoyaki, and then he eats hers because he's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
It's like, these are my favorites.
Saying, I'm so tired of eating takoyaki. Then he eats hers and says, "Oh, I love it. What a good guy." Praising hers.
You know what would be better?
What?
If Himepo had previously stepped on these and he was like, "No, feed me. I need them, even off the floor."
Yeah. Well, Himepo was petrified this chapter, so he wouldn't have been able to step on them.
That's why.
Yeah. So I think you've previously said that you don't really like takoyaki, but this chapter made me want some takoyaki.
No, takoyaki's bad. Takoyaki's just good. Like an egg-based dough, and you put like this tiny little bit of octopus in the middle.
Yeah.
There are no good ones.
And you have the sauce on the top. You gotta get it just right.
The sauce is okay.
Yeah. It was a good, funny and wholesome chapter, except for the fact that Bondo got fat. That's not good.
He'll be slim the next chapter. What if he's not?
One fear. Yeah. don't encourage kids to force feed their friends and make them fat because you like them so much.
Don't do it. If you love someone,
That's the bad
make
message.
them fat.
Anyway, going on.
Oh, wait,
Or actually,
rating,
you wanted to say
rating.
the number? Yeah, what's your
Yes.
rating?
This was my second favorite chapter in the
Really?
whole issue, so I gave it 79.
Wow. I would have said 7. I thought it was pretty funny, but I don't want kids to learn to fatten their friends.
It's okay, children
That's why I wouldn't
move
give it
so
as
much
high
that
as you.
they immediately
You're
burn
right.
all of the
Yeah,
calories.
they'll burn it off. It'll just help them grow.
Yeah.
Anyway, next. Tell me about
Next manga. Next one is
tell me about these
PPPPPP.
blank pages.
So, this is the chapter
These
in
sustained notes. Is that what that dot means above a note?
it should be on the other side. What's the deal with
Alright.
that?
What's the deal with
So
these notes?
this is the chapter in which Sorachika plays his piece in the 4-on-4 piano battle, and his play style shows everybody an illusion of what's important to them, and that's why his play style is God. Because how can you defeat someone who shows you the best thing? And the thing is,
and it's nothing.
This sequence of 6 pages, go through them slowly.
6. Okay.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Because this is a double spread.
Mm.
Oh, he sees a cloud that's the same shape as him, or is it supposed to be the shape of his brother?
It's himself.
Okay. Oh, and it's the same. Wait.
It's all. Yeah.
His body is identical. They just his head. They just Control T rotated his head upward.
Yeah.
What the heck?
It's just copy pasted.
Yeah.
And the pages, all of these pages are almost empty.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even care that one of them has like gradient. What's it called? And
yeah, gradient in clouds.
And the clouds are copy pasted. It's one of my least favorite things happening in PPPPP.
It seems
just
like
copy
the
pasting
emptiest
empty
chapter,
pages.
The emptiest chapter ever.
You absolute son of a bitch.
I'm suddenly reminded of a description I heard about movies and directors either being cinematography brained or writing brained. Saying that some directors, then they'll make their films and they'll base everything on how cool something will look on film, and then others will think more about the storyline. Yeah, exactly. And then so I'd say that there's some directors who begin with writing stuff because they're like, this story will be really cool. Maybe you could fit people like Christopher Nolan in that, because he always starts out with some weird concept, and then others, they obviously have just started out with some image, like Zack Snyder, and they don't care how the writing goes, and you get a very different feel from that. I think that happens with manga artists as well.
Well, that's like, because as you said, they don't have manga
they'll
brain.
be thinking about the...
They're not like us or
some will be
Hakari.
Anime brained, and they'll be thinking more of how will this look when it's in motion on screen, and others will think more about writing stuff. Like Oda always has tons of stuff that's written really well.
You have to become Oda.
You can't ignore that part. Yeah, you have to be manga brained. You can't just be anime brained when you're writing a manga, or you'll miss out on a lot of the stuff that makes it really worth it.
So, this chapter of PPP pissed me off. It's
because it's nothing.
It's still kind of okay because the art on the other pages was okay enough, but I'm like so close to like give it a shitty note, so I'm giving it 50 points. Aww. Just on the cusp of being extremely shitty.
Not good. Yeah.
Next, manga.
Seems very blank. Next, we got Aliens Area. So this chapter kind of pissed me off.
Same.
Last week, I think. Did you really like last week's chapter?
Yeah,
I forget your
I
rating
liked
number
it.
because
It was
they introduced
mainly because my expectations were lowered enough that the sudden change was so
switch
sudden
in
that I
tone,
was like, "Oh,
switch
this is good, actually."
in plot from just we're doing slice of life as a cop with aliens to we have a main plot going on. Here's a villain working for a secret organization that
Evil
uses the same
cult.
kind of tools that we use. So it was such a big shift. And then this one, so we see Tatsumi realizes that not only the whole bar is on fire, but the Akina and the aliens are like clearly burnt to a crisp there.
Yeah, and then Yutaka steps over Akina and does a few crouches over her. And Tatsumi's like,
Yeah.
"What the fuck
Don't
are you
do that.
doing?" He's like, "It's called teabagging."
Weren't you ever on Xbox Live, Tatsumi?
He's
Yeah.
doing a Fortnite dance over her.
So this part is really dumb because Sharaku recognizes what's going on. He calls HQ and says, our opponent is an A3 human with equipment. And when he says that, first of all, I was like, have they had conflict with A3 people before? Because it seemed like in their discussion last week that they hadn't fought them before.
That's true.
It seemed like when they mentioned... I think he was surprised when Akina told him about how A3 implants people with the alien stuff. Because he's like, oh, they have access to that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they hadn't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, so it made me a bit surprised that he said, judging from his equipment, our opponent is an A3 human, telling HQ. I mean, it's like, who at HQ would know what that means?
What else was he supposed to be?
Yeah. Well, it's just that he tells them that he's recognized that this guy is from A3 because he has the equipment. When last week, which in universe is like 5 minutes ago, he didn't know that, or from my perspective, I don't think he knew that A3 people had alien tech. And now he's telling HQ that because he has alien tech, he must be from A3. I mean, you'd think that he should have just told HQ, we've got an opponent here who has the same equipment, without saying where he's from. Just be like, there's a guy here with equipment, send help ASAP. And then the thing I really hate happened, which is that Tatsumi gets ready to fight this guy. What's his name?
Yutaka.
So Tatsumi gets ready to fight Yutaka, and Sharaku stops him and says, no, don't go after him, while he's calmly walking away. We gotta stay here to prevent people from seeing the evidence and knowing that there's aliens. And I was like, you know what? This is so bad, because you'd think that in this situation, they should immediately be chasing him.
Yes.
As he's going. And they should immediately be chasing him and then calling HQ. They should either be calling HQ and be telling them, be sure to send people who can erase memories, because you're going to need to erase a lot of memories. Or they should be making up an excuse really quick. Like, maybe he could think on his feet and yell to everyone in the street, stay away, there's been a gas leak, it could explode again.
Yeah.
Something like that, just to keep everyone away while they're chasing. Yeah. Instead, he just watches him walk away and says, don't chase him, we got to stay here to make sure people don't see the evidence. And Yutaka is like very smug about this.
He's on the phone talking to someone. Let's
he's
go
walking away
drink.
So slowly, he's able to call one of the other A3 people to say, yeah, I did the job. Let's go out for drinks. Which also is really stupid for him, because A3 has equipment, right? They've got the alien tech. They know what exists. So he should know that Tatsumi... Well, he probably doesn't know exactly that Tatsumi has it, but he should know the existence of the kind of lens that Tatsumi has. So like right here, it's like, he should be like, I've been seen. Even if they're letting me get away, I will need to lay low, because they're probably going to put my face everywhere. So he shouldn't be so calm about it. He should run away low. So that's everyone's action is pissing me off because it doesn't seem like a logical action for somebody of their who would know the things that they would know. And also, Genji gets there really fast after Sharaku's like, don't chase him. Genji gets there like super quickly, and I'm like, at that point, like just the two of you immediately run through the door that Yutaka left through. Like, don't hang around with Genji, just go. And they don't. They just sit around, and Tatsumi is being sad, thinking about the people we just met dying.
Tatsumi lying on the floor, seeing Akina's corpse burning.
Yeah.
Made him remember.
And he imagines,
what I'm assuming is his mother?
Yeah. Oh, with aliens?
Yeah, because these aliens look like those ancient Jomon Jidai pottery clay figures. Yeah,
they're ones that we haven't seen before. Yeah. So he has this flashback.
Aliens.
Alien flashback.
Doing a thing with his mom.
I don't like it. I just didn't like this chapter.
Was kind of weird. Then Tatsumi gets mad.
Even acknowledges.
Tatsumi gets mad at Sharaku's like, what's the deal with the way we do this stupid thing? And Sharaku's like, I don't like it either. He's so sad.
I feel like last time we had the critique of them from Akina.
Mm-hmm.
And Sharaku just kind of agreed with her.
Yes.
And this time, again, the Men in Black gets criticized by Tatsumi. And again, Sharaku just kind of agrees with her. Yeah, we suck. Yeah.
We're the baddies.
I don't like it.
Sharaku, are we the baddies?
Yeah.
Kinda. Which is funny because the guy who just killed a normal person and 3 aliens was like, we're better because we hate aliens.
Yeah. He is saying we're better because we have a pure we're more pure. We just want to hate aliens and kill them. Well, you guys have all your rules and stuff. I don't like it.
Stupid.
Yeah. What would you give this one?
This chapter was a disappointment. Wait, why did I still give it 59 points, saying it's okay?
I'll give it a 4. I hated it. This chapter is bad.
Maybe it was supposed to be 49.
Yeah, bump that under 50.
Yeah, okay.
It's not good. It's on the bad side of things.
149.
I didn't like it.
Maybe because I was comparing it to PPPPPP, which I gave 50.
Probably. You're like, oh, it's better than PPPPP. At least something happened, even though we didn't like what happened. Yeah, so I think this one is on the road to cancellation. Last week I said, oh, well, maybe with starting a new arc, it's going to have something exciting happen. And then this week I'm like, no, I do not think something good is going to come out of this.
Probably because the motivations of the main characters are brought into question.
Yes.
They remain questionable.
Yeah.
They don't get vindicated or explained as, yes, this is correct. This is the way.
Yeah, instead nobody is here. No one.
Kind of sucks.
So it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks of after Tatsumi has been getting used to working in the Men in Black. 2 weeks of people just trashing the Men in Black and his boss being like, yeah, they're kind of right. So it's not good. Not good for their world building, I guess. It makes it seem like you joined the wrong team.
Yeah. Do we have time for one more chapter?
One more. Let's do Super Smartphone, chapter 18. Yes. Card game. I did like this chapter.
It's okay.
Unlike the previous one we covered. I like this chapter a lot. because this is the one
I wouldn't go as far as to say a lot. It was okay.
Okay. Well, this is the one where Q is going to guess Boken's identity. And I think last week I said that it would probably be that he has actually done research beforehand off screen.
Yes.
It turned out I was wrong. He didn't do any research off screen. So
very unfortunate.
Yeah. So when he was laying in bed being depressed about Mora being dead, he was just laying in bed being depressed about Mora being dead, and he wasn't searching out more information about smartphone users.
Somehow he still knew about Boken investigating the Tokugawa treasure at the Emperor's Guard.
Yeah.
Somehow he knew that because
he mentions it in this chapter. That's right.
They do this thing where they place imaginary bargain chips.
So I was gonna say I really like the writing for the next page. I don't like the image that accompanies it because the next page is all Q thinking because they present it as this is going to be a card game between them. They have to see what cards are on the table. So Q is like mentally going through all the cards of what he knows about Boken and what that could lead him to deduce. But the graphic is him being naked and all these cards floating around, and it's look at the one over his crotch and it's turning transparent. Why are you doing this?
Means he has small pee-pee.
I don't like it. I don't want the manga to present us nude shots of our protagonist.
Small pee-pee.
Look how small pee-pee he has.
Small pee-pee. I like that his conclusions are basically what I said, which is everything that Rei did, like how she talked to him and why she was even tagging along. All of the information, the consequential, inconsequential information that he gathered just from watching her, and the best conclusion was, Boken is kind of poor. And he's like, I know your parents must be dead. And Boken is like, he gets.
Is it because I'm poor?
Yeah, he's so triggered.
Like,
and
yes, it is.
Yes.
It's funny. The thing that I was going to say though is when I read this and Q is thinking I was right. Then at this point I was like, oh well, he gets so mad that you thought of it because he's poor, but knowing that he does have a dead parent, you could say that you realized it not because you deduced that he's poor, but because all smartphone users have lost someone close to them.
He does.
Fortunately, he does say that.
Yeah,
I was glad. Yeah. One thing that I thought that kind of threw me off though is that when it's revealed that Rei lost her mom 5 years ago, even though Boken and Q lost their family members 7 years ago, and then Zenichiro lost his sister 18 years ago. So it's all at different times.
Yes. And everybody thought that there must be a connection that it's all going to happen in 2015.
Yeah, I thought it was all going to have been at the same time, but this then ends up with a twist where Q is like, oh, you guys got to be on my side now because maybe Zenichiro caused the deaths of our family members.
That would be too simple, wouldn't it be?
Yeah, but that's the implication of this because
somebody in the comments wrote that it shouldn't be Zenichiro, but if this gets X, then it is Zenichiro.
Yeah, it won't be Zenichiro if this runs for several more Tankoban, but if it's just for one more, then it will be.
Remember, I wrote in the comments myself, which is that this series would probably catch the perfect moment of being cancelled at the final volume of the year.
Yes,
because they usually try to introduce a new series. Yeah. So if Super Smartphone skips 1 week because like author needs a break, then it's in the perfect spot of traditional getting axed new series start.
Yeah.
And that's, what is it? 10 weeks from now, right?
I think
10 weeks from now. Go.
That's the clock has begun for time until Super Smartphone ends. I was gonna say
Yes.
here they are winding up that Zenitro caused the deaths of their family members because
Mm.
the road that Boken's parents died on, they
Look
died
how
because of unexpected road work by this company that turns out to be owned by Zenitro.
Zaibatsu. Look how
Yeah,
big he
it's a
is.
Zaibatsu.
Do you know what this tells you?
Yeah, imagine
Imagine
how big
how.
his wine glass is gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be huge.
Yeah.
And one thing that I thought was funny though is at the beginning of their little match where Q declares he's going to be able to figure out Boken's
Hmm.
identity. Boken's like, I'm not just going to blurt it out. And by the end, he's just blurted out.
Yeah, that
He's
was
like,
a
fine,
little
here's my
bit
identity.
disappointing because I was really expecting Q to just drop the name, like, "Oh, I know who this is because I can deduce." Like, for instance, he could have gone the route of going like, "Oh, these clothes are so fashionable. I've never seen anybody else wear this except for people who work in this Harajuku fashion store because this is extremely high fashion that nobody else would wear unless you're X cool and you are X cool." And that would really like he could have gotten him that way. And instead it's just like
Well,
it's
I feel like anything like that would have required him to leave the room because he wouldn't have been able to look up his name.
it
He
would
would have had to
have
talk to someone in real life to get the name.
it would have required him to be shown reading fashion magazines.
Yeah, that too. So it's the sort of thing where his guesses could get him very close to his identity, but it seems like without him boarding it out, it's too hard to actually get him to
That's
figure it
why it
out.
had to be arranged in this kind of card game where he's like, okay, I will tell you how I figured out this piece of information
Hmm.
if you
Yeah,
give me another piece of information, which
then I
wasn't
can deduce more things.
part of the initial deal.
Yeah, but
That's the
in
only
any
way how to get
case,
it.
I liked all of the deducing parts, and I like the
Was okay.
explanation of how Zenichiro is the big bad, and they're going to team up. And here's the final page, and Vulcan says, "I'm your ally, Q," and I'm really glad that the main characters are getting this super smart, emotionless guy on their team now. It's gonna be
Because
really helpful to them.
now they can team up and compare all of their musings and
Yeah,
conclusions, which
yeah,
hopefully speeds up the process of going through uh, deductions.
exactly. It will be more fun to get
Um,
this kind of three heads together on it instead of just one guy talking to his own phone.
I
I liked
gave
it.
it 57 points. It was okay.
Oh,
I was a little bit
I said
disappointed.
more. I would have said it's around 7 out of 10 for me. I really like all the detective type talking.
Wasn't
Uh,
enough.
I just the main thing I didn't like is the Q nude shot. It's I don't want it. Didn't they give him a bath
Yes,
scene before
yes,
too? I feel
yes.
like the author is really trying to push Q.
He read Elusive Samurai and was like, hey, wait a minute, I have a Shoda.
Yeah, get him
Maybe
in
I
all
can get
those
some fans
Ulysses
with
scenes
this.
too.
Look at the small peepee. Isn't it tiny?
I don't think it's
Is
gonna
this
work.
what you want? And then everybody's like, no. And
No.
he's like, oh, and then
Oh.
he's getting cancelled.
That's why he'll get canceled. The true reason. Give
Peepee
Q
too
too
small.
small PP. That's why he'll
I
get
wanted
canceled.
to
Any
highlight
comments you want to talk
some
about?
comments real quick. Demon
Mm-hmm.
Bright Stories Tadaichi Nakama. But by the way, Nakama is a anagram of Manaka.
Oh.
He
So
made
maybe
all of the
she's the stand-in character for
responsible.
him.
Maybe he made all of the responsible health preparations so he wouldn't run into problems during his serialization. Only to
Nice.
highlight that disaster is never far away.
Oh no.
Because he's like, I got all of my cavities fixed. I love cola.
Oh no. That affects your health poorly in so many other ways than just your teeth.
Then Elusive Samurai's Yusei Matsui says he wants to look at a bunch of nondescript white pixels on old CRT monitors, apparently. Because he's like, I want to rent the James Webb telescope one day and
Look at a
look at
bunch
a
of
bunch of
stars.
stars. not realizing that actual astronomers, like all of the galaxies you see on TV and the planets and stuff, that's all CG.
Yeah, it's colorized. Yeah.
It's,
I think
not real.
I read a thing about how those telescopes, they can see in much wider range of
Colors.
Yeah, of colors than we can. So a lot of the wider spectrum. So a lot of the colors on those photographs of galaxies and stuff, it's infrared and ultraviolet that
New
they've
Pokemon
represented in. Yeah. Yeah, they do something to compress the color spectrum so it becomes visible to us. So it's like if you actually looked at it just through a telescope, it would look really bland.
Yeah.
You have
Then
to have special imaging technology to be able to get it
Black
to look cool.
Clover's author Yuki Tabata's daughter is apparently raised incorrectly as a joke.
Oh no!
Because I didn't know that this is a thing. Apparently, everybody's like, "Yeah, she's back!" Because she's like, she told her dad, "Wrong, Papa is my slave," and he's like, "Yes, you are correct,
Oh no!
my queen."
McQueen. He's...
Oh wait, and
Poor
Super
guy.
Smartphone's author Kentaro Hidano reveals why this chapter was visualizing information as cards.
Oh, his guilty pleasure is buying a trading card pack and opening it every time he goes into the convenience store.
He's getting addicted.
Yeah,
Must be
hopefully he
stopped
doesn't.
before he draws a card that has a small peepee on it.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't use the cards to cover his otherwise naked body.
Oh no, he wouldn't be
Oh
the
no!
only the
Oh, and
first
of course, Akane-banashi
author.
author Takamasa Moe says the color was inspired by The Breakfast Club. I love that movie. Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else? Any news or anything?
No, I'm going to expire now.
All right. Well, go get some rest. And yeah, I guess we'll talk about Chainsaw Man tomorrow.
My expiration has only just begun.